Well, good evening, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones, and I am super happy to be here tonight. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for tuning in. We have a fantastic show for y'all tonight. We have two, actually three, if you count all three of these remote viewing targets tonight. Two separate topics, of course, and you know we have been talking since Saturday about the attack on the woman out of Oklahoma with that unknown creature, and that was sent out to some of my remote viewing team actually, and so we have some data for that tonight. We're going to get into that a little bit towards the end of the show actually, and tonight our main focus will be the Sphere Network as well, and so Barry Littleton has tasked me with two coordinate remote viewing targets of this network. Now, it's all about the orbs and stuff, but this is a very important topic, and so you guys buckle up because this is a deep rabbit hole. I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole was until I started doing some digging myself after he gave me the actual targets, told me what the targets were after I had remote viewed them, and yeah, please y'all pay attention tonight, okay? Pay attention. This is important. And of course, it's also the remote viewing data for the attack is also important as well. I'm not saying this is going to give us all the answers tonight, y'all, but there is some pretty interesting data for that attack that happened. So, all right. Well, I have spent the day. I hung out with Dr. John today. Okay, and he came to my side of the state from North Carolina, and we are getting ready for this West Georgia Bigfoot Town Hall. If you guys are interested in joining us at that, please look on my website, get the information. You can get some tickets. Everybody 18 and under is free to get into this thing, of course. But it's at the the McIntosh Reserve over in beautiful Whitesburg, Georgia. And it's right there on the Chattahoochee River. In one of the pavilions. I'll give you more information. You can find that all over on my website. And yeah, please come and see me at that. Okay, come and see us. He gave me some posters. I don't have a poster with me, but you know, in my hometown, it's a little embarrassing to have a poster that says starring Jessica Jones. You know, but thank you, Dr. John, for including that. It's a little embarrassing, but it's okay. You know, it's always weird going back to your hometown, you know, places like that. So, but anyways, I digress. It's going to be a great event. And so shout out to everybody over in West Georgia. If you have had a Bigfoot or Dogman sighting in any kind of an encounter, even UFOs, ETs, anything weird, please come to this event and let us know. Let's talk about it. Let's be friends. Let's meet. I'd love to hang out with everybody and meet y'all there. Okay. So, okay. And also here's my website. If you guys want more information on all that, just go to thecryptidhuntress.com. And also I have a Patreon as well. If you guys would like to see the data for tonight, I have the animal attack data in there. I got really busy today and I kind of forgot. I didn't forget. I ran out of time to put the data for the Sphere Network in there, but it will be in there after the show tonight. And so go to patreon.com/thecryptidhuntress if you'd like to see the raw remote viewing data. And also y'all go check out my shop over on Etsy. If you get squirrely and you need something to do, go check out the goods at War Woman Goods. All right. Thank y'all. Okay. Let's get to our show tonight. Because, man, you know, Barry had a live show on Sunday, and he was talking about the cryptoterrestrials. Okay. And I've oftentimes said, I do believe through all this research and all of my experiences, I think that UFOs and ETs are like from here. So a lot of them they're just from here. And they're not from off. Some of these are not from off planet. Okay. Things are just living here on this planet. And we're going to get into that tonight. This is a really cool, way cool topic. And so there's some books we're going to be referring to as well. And so get ready, y'all. Here we go. I've got some great data. Barry said I was on target for both of them. Okay. So on March the 29th, a mother was attacked by an unknown creature in Pittsburg County outside of Blanco, Oklahoma, leaving the unsuspecting mother severely injured and hospitalized. Now, local authorities in the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife are presently investigating this terrible incident. And between surgeries, the victim expressed that immediately before the attack, she heard a deep growl before being ambushed by a dog-like creature. The local sheriff announced that her clothing was completely ripped off and her face, neck, and arm were severely injured, unlike anything he had seen in all his years of law enforcement. That's one of our targets tonight, y'all. Okay, that's one of them. The Sphere Network is a speculative planetary defense system conceptualized by ufologist and IT specialist Patrick Jackson. It posits, that's an interesting word, a multi-tiered grid of AI-controlled metallic spheres that form an intelligent interdiction network safeguarding Earth from extraterrestrial threats. These orbs, often sighted darting through skies with impossible speed and precision, are managed by ancient ultraterrestrial intelligences indigenous to Earth, residing primarily 500 feet underground or in mountainous regions. The Sphere Network is portrayed not as a human engineer construct, but as an ancient non-human infrastructure integrated into Earth's environment. Y'all. Okay, so of course I was tasked with both of these topics tonight as blind coordinate remote viewing targets. The attack was actually sent out to some of our team members as well. And we're going to go over that data tonight. So thank you guys again so much for being here. I do have Barry Littleton here in the studio with me. And Barry did task me with the Sphere Network. And if you guys want more information on that as well, we're going to talk about it tonight, but also go over to his YouTube channel. It's called Barry Littleton. And he is a cutting edge researcher and one of the best in the field when it comes to extraterrestrials, UFOs, cryptids, spirituality, near-death experiences, ghosts, whatever. Please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Hey, what's up, Jessica? What's happening? Thanks for having me on. Thanks for doing the targets. I want to say hello to everybody in your audience. You know, I've gotten the work we've been doing lately, I've gotten a number of clients that have come my way and had some really good sessions, and it's been really enriching. So I thank you and thank your audience. And, you know, I had kind of during the holidays laid off during sessions a little bit. I just sometimes don't always get so groovy on the holidays after certain people have passed, you know. But so it's good to be in there. But that's a result of our work together. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Very, very interesting too, doing this target. So thanks again.
Of course. Well, I enjoyed your live from Sunday. That was really cool. And you know, it was on Easter. So I was kind of in and out of there, but I went back and watched the whole thing. And fascinating topic. You know, the Sphere Network, I was like, what in the world is a Sphere Network? And I'm thinking spheres are round, they're orbs. Okay, so I had to do something with orbs. I had no idea how deep the rabbit hole goes on these spheres. And now you have tasked me with multiple spheres as remote viewing targets throughout the years that you and I have done work together. And I've got my Patreon pulled up on my other computer right now to go over some of the data from some of those other targets. But we've always questioned, what are these orbs? What are the orbs doing? Where do they come from? I mean, I'm even thinking about the brown mountain light and stuff too. You know, that's one that we didn't.
You know, I've completely thought about that because that actually, what I saw kind of in some ways matches the configuration of the Sphere Network. And something I want to say that, you know, something I brought up during my live is that, look, I am not an expert on the work of Patrick. What's his last name? Washington, isn't it? Or is it no? What's his last name? Gosh, I don't even have a picture of the book. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, yeah, what's his last name? I can't see it. Jackson. That's right, Jackson. That sounds like a brother almost. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, a friend named close.
No relation to Jesse. I know Jesse Jackson. I used to, by the way.
Really? You know, I was having lunch with a 93-year-old architect today that worked really close with Black architect. Probably quite well known. He's talking about Jesse Jackson. They worked a lot together, even when he came to town here. Anyway, point being, sorry, I'm getting way off target. The Sphere Network, I just want everybody to know, look, I'm not an expert on this gentleman's work, and more to the point, I've not read the book. So I don't want to come off like I'm some authority on this stuff. But however, I did look into his work, and I have a familiarity with it, and I can tell you my rudimentary understanding of it. So we'll just get that out of the way first off.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
Yes.
secondly, man, Jessica, Spirit has been pushing me on this one, and people probably don't realize how really connected I am as far as like Spirit goes and how I get influenced.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something there that they were wanting me to give to you as a target for a long time. Spirit coming through with that, and more to the point. No, well, just a couple of weeks now because we had to postpone it a week, and I try to kind of blow it off, but they won't lay off. You know what I mean? You've got different energies. You've got like Spirit that comes through. You got that like the consciousness within. You get like the star beings that have a different frequency that come through, and they've been pushing this too. And that's why I told you, and so much that I was not going to do that live until this weekend after we'd done the target. I want to give it to you as a target, but they're like, no, you do it last week. That's why I did it. It's just so it's interesting. So I think it's very, very important is all I'm saying. And it's not the answer for all spears and all orbs, but we have to put it in the conglomeration of the pool of stuff that we know they are, along with the quantum holograms, and that there's some beings that are condensing their light bodies to travel through interstellar space, okay, and through dimensions. We have that capability also through the Merkaba dream body, energy body. So it's it's that's so there's several different facets, and even more to the point, I want the differentiation between who is helping and who is hurting and who is not, who's attacking. And that's what this Spirit Network thing is showing. It's very interesting, and we'll take that and correlate it with the other 3 targets you've done. There's similar to this, so thank you for pulling that up. So we could go wherever you want to coast with it from now. I'm down.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with all of that. I mean, we can start off with some of the. I mean, let's just talk about what the Sphere Network is first. But I want to say thank you to Area 51. Long time no see, buddy. Good to see you here. Thank you for that.
That's generous there. That's nice.
That is so sweet. Thank you, Juan. It's always good to have you here. Where have you been? Come back and see us, okay? But thank you again. That's so sweet. I appreciate your support so much. And the one constant, Barry, that I always bring up about as far as our research goes out in the field is orbs. We have the constant are orbs. We always have orbs. Now they're often associated with Bigfoot and the other cryptids out there. They're associated with the Fae. They're associated with, some people, my dad always says swamp gas. That's what my dad will say. It's all swamp gas. I'm like, swamp gas my ass. That's what is that fellow that used to come on the show from Wright Patterson? I can't remember his name. He used to come on the show all the time. He wrote a book called Swamp Gas My Ass. Okay. And but anyways, he was a top scientist over there. Yeah. But nonetheless, orbs and even cosmic sovereign cosmic wild man. Sorry, sovereign. He said that orbs. He's heard that orbs over mountains sometimes are associated with like reptilians living under the mountains and things. I mean, gosh, like I said, we've done a lot of remote viewing of these orbs. Even that one. What was that one that we had? It was like in, I want to say Pennsylvania. And there's one that where the Bigfoot was seen carrying an orb, and then a UFO flew over it, and then it disappeared into the light. It had shined down into the ground, into the forest, and just weird stuff, man. Such weird stuff. But this is a defense system. Okay, now who is it defending? Why does it need defending? Who sent them? What is this?
Well, check it out. Well, we'll break it down. Okay, so the guy Patrick Jackson is like an advanced programmer of some type, and he noticed similarities in some orbs and also the metallic spheres, how they have similar to like electrical component. Well, at least programmable deal. Like as for example, drones, that they appear to be drones that send and receive information. One of the main things. So he classified them into 3 different categories, okay, which is 3 levels. One is like, and it's odd because instead of go 1, 2, 3, it goes 3, 2, 1, okay. And what you've got is type 3 orbs, spears, or he also takes that into also plasma balls, and also ball lightning can also appear to be ball lightning as well. Yeah,
Okay.
so those are the categories of that you got. And what you have is he calls those type 3. And what they do is like ground surveilling. He thinks they come from underground, okay, from the inner earth to some point. They come up and then they start taking information, okay, and doing surveying. And then what they do is they upload that to what's called a type 1, okay? And there's one that was one of the ones I put on Facebook today. That is actually what I'm describing. Actually, if you see it, this was the one that's a diagram.
Yes, let's see. Okay, let me go over here. There's a bunch of different diagrams.
That way I don't have to repeat it. Boom, there you go.
Is that one it? Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so since I don't have a pointer and I lack that ability, down on the left, all right, is the type A's or type 3. I'm sorry, and they can be spherical, like I said, metallic. Lightning or ball lightning and things like that. But what they do is he traces, he's doing tests on these things. He traced these to emitting large bursts of gamma radiation, okay, and microwaves. And Jessica, where have you heard that before? That has to do with the bending of the crop circles. The crop circles that are bent, the real ones, Dr. Livingood had found that they have something called an electron avalanche, which is caused by the extreme microwaves that they're exposed to during the making of the crop circles, okay? And it was Jackson's idea that really it's a reverse propulsion of one of these things that actually makes the circles, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, point being, okay, so when these type 3, Jessica, they upload to information to a type 1, okay, which either a threat or whatever the system is. And they're being hidden. They hide inside of. Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, no, sorry. I was just showing some crop circles while you're talking. I'm just lollygagging over here while you're talking. Sorry. I'll pull the thing back up.
Thanks. Okay. See, knock my mind now. My mind is it jumps around. Watch it now.
So seriously. Mine, okay,
so the type 3s, they're actually hidden in like buildings and houses and under structures they used to hide, and the fact that they're emitting these radiation that goes to what's called a type 2. The type 2 is next up there. You can see it there. Okay, and it's normally about a bowling ball size, and it hovers above houses and more above tree lines. Okay, so you're looking at a data system. Okay, and what's really interesting about this is that this system, when these things like start radiating and then they send this information, this download to the type 2, it can cause a situation where sometimes they'll move and they'll go through a wall or something like that. And it's just a motion that they're doing for this upload, but it's got this power that the microwaves, Jackson believes, has caused people to be spontaneously combusted. That the few cases of that there are, he thinks that's why it is, and he thinks it's because there was not enough type 2s. You've got all these type 3s down here gathering all this information and uplinking it to what's not enough type 2s. Okay? And what's real fascinating about that, and why I want to throw this in, is that he had mentioned, and it's true, I used to look into that, and there are not that many spontaneous combustions, but it was during a very short period of time, and then it stopped. And he believes it stopped because somebody purposely made more type 2. Hey, what are you doing?
You slid it up there? Okay.
I'm not nearly close done.
Okay.
Because you can show the others after that. Okay. So are you trying to jack me up?
No. I was just,
I'm just kidding.
When I make short videos, it's better to see you instead of seeing this up here the whole time. But it's okay.
Okay, well, it explains. You can show the other pictures that actually show this in the air. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm almost done. Don't worry. Okay, so there are more type 2s now that somebody has purposely done that so that people don't get killed for one reason. And number 2, these type 3s have now begun doing cognitive episodes with people. They're using like phantasmagorical images or hauntings making noises and things like that in homes that distract people, that either draw people away from the area that they're at or draw them to in a way that gets them out of the way of the path of this upload to the type 2. You got me? And that's the reason why we're no longer seeing spontaneous combustion. It had to do with the microwaves these spheres are emitting. So, okay, I'm done with that, but don't worry, I'm almost done. Okay. Then it goes from there to a type 3. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Type 1. And type 1 is the 3 up here. It's always got a V structure. Okay. And the V structure is actually, that's a defense system. And then their target something from there. Would probably scalar weaponry, I would think, or something similar. But anyway, this is this defense system. So you got the type 3 down there, boom. But now they can be caused. So now the locations where they're real active are going to be haunted locations. You understand what I'm saying? And more than that, we're dealing with radiation, high radiation. These people, it's a high radiation thing, and the sickness and all that stuff. It deals with these things, and the fact that they emit these gamma radiation and also the microwaves. Okay, so this goes all the way into an area of what your team saw and walked into. Is that an area where you've got type 3 is about to upload to a type 1? Okay. So that, and these are all in the atmosphere. So basically what I'm telling you, when you see the triangle like that, it's not a TR3B, but these 3 lights in this pattern, you're looking at them having a war with some sort of a species, something in our atmosphere. They're targeting something. And at the same time, these are the things that come out, okay? Like when the Foo Fighters came out, you remember after bombing and all that stuff, they got picked up, uploaded, and then you've got these spears that start targeting them, these Foo Fighters, seeing if they're a threat or not. Okay, now if you go to the other pictures that I put on Facebook, it shows this, and people have these pictures of this all over the place. It's quite common. There you go. Boom. That's a good one, Jessica. Good job. You see type 1 uploading to type 3 uploading to type 2, going into type 3, the V formation. Okay, and then the target after that. And what I will bring up and show later, that this reminds me of something that is human technology, though similar, that is called the Tesla howitzer scalar interferometer. Okay, and I'll show pictures of that a little bit later. But that's AKA the Reagan Star Wars program. And it had a way also that could be reversed to make like a defense shield also. So if you pull up one of those pictures, that was the other, like the actual sky pictures of like, there you go. That's one. And there's another one. You see that 3 configuration, you can see it there. And you see the 1 down below there. It's kind of low to see at the bottom, but that's this targeting system. Okay. And so anytime, pictures, a lot of people are getting pictures of that 1 type 2 and then the types 3s.
Oh my
so
God.
I think it's very, and he noticed that these things had these same like algorithms or whatever it is, his computer programming paths and things doing. They're acting quite similar. And he was saying how people have been picking this stuff up on years, on just plain tapes. When you start hearing that hissing on the tapes you would push and we're recording nothing, he's saying it's these things communicating with each other. And more to the point, okay, when the ones that I had you remote view, see, I'm getting too excited, start sliding around in my chair. I got to shut up quick. The ones that I had you remote view that were in Wiltshire, the spears that were making the crop circle. I've seen it. It was Earth Files, maybe it's under remote, however, somebody else that actually slowed down. It might have been Patty Greer, but they showed between 2 of those spears was a line of communication. And when they zoom in on it, it almost looks like it's binary. Okay. Wow. So that implies, because I wonder, like, I thought honestly that those spears, because they went up and came down, I thought that they came from what's called the Kordylewski clouds, which are these large plasma clouds between Earth and the moon and on the other side of the moon. And they sit on Lagrange, if I'm saying that right, Lagrange points. So they're like mostly invisible, but there's extremely advanced plasma that's most likely sentient. And we think the moon is just recording us and recording everything. I believe that. Remote viewers have seen that. But I believe also the Kordylewski clouds do that as well. But I thought, being sentient plasma, that perhaps those orbs came from that and came down and made the crop circles. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they were type 3s, like he's saying. I don't know. But either way, we've got to kind of configure that together. Okay, I think that's.
Oh yeah, man! I was actually just pulling up some pictures of those orbs that were making the crop circles, and I also wanted to make a note because you know, I've been asked over and over repeatedly to remote view that Malaysian flight 370, I think is what it is, and it's the airplane that just disappeared, and there's video of it. I've seen video. I think this is the same video of it, and there are 3 orbs circling it over and over and over again, just like what you're describing. It's almost like it made it a portal where it disappeared or something. It is the strangest thing. That is a target that I have never been given as a target. Shockingly, I have not been given that.
You said it was turning. Is that what you said?
Yes, there. Let me see if I can find a video of it. Actually, when I found that ball lightning. Here, let's go. Let me see if I can find a video of that. Let's see. Malaysia flight. I think it's 370, MH70. There it is. Orbs circling. Let's see if we can find this, and I'll pull it up. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, we're about to look at this real quick for the audience here. Oh, it says it was debunked. This right here says debunked on it, but I mean, who knows? Let's see. Hold on.
You know,
yeah.
There's something called circulating light beams too that fit the configuration for actual crop circles also. But that's really more of time science, circulating light beams. And people can check into the work of Dr. Ron Mallett from Connecticut. He made a machine that's using circulating light beams to actually do some quantum tunneling and send information forward and backward in the past. So anyway.
Okay. Well, okay, look, I'm going to click on this. This one says debunked. Okay. But I don't take anything as being debunked completely. Sorry, but I'm going to pull this up. Looks like a thermal of this. These are the 3 circles, the 3 orbs that were circling it quickly. Now it says right, like I said, on this thing, it says it's debunked, but I mean, you don't always have to buy that if you don't want to. Okay. First of all, I need to also thank Nathan Davis. Thank you, Nathan, for that super sticker.
Well, isn't that interesting? You know, I'm not seeing this. This is debunked. Mm-hmm. How interesting to see those 3 spears around that.
Oh, they go in a circle. If I can find a video, I'll show it. Yeah.
You know, okay, so he says something else. Jackson says something else. He talks about, like, you know, how computer systems use these energy, the pathways of energy, and how when there can be something that disrupts this pathway of this weapon or this download, the links, and that it will completely recircuit itself in terms of going to different areas. Okay, so other places will suddenly become haunted areas that were not, and how there'll be like one house that's haunted and there's another one up the street, and how this thing reroutes itself. He compares it to the computer system, the computer circuitry. It's quite fascinating, you know, and he's seeing the repetition in it. And that's, you know, and especially when he was looking for, okay, if he thinks they're drones, he started looking for what signals are they receiving and they're emitting. And that's where we got to this thing here. And so my point for bringing that whole thing up, if it rerouted the system, did it hit that plane? When the power circuit lines or whatever, he explains it better than I could, but did it hit that plane? It's food for thought, you know? And and what we're going to do, we might as well keep rolling with it and going while we're going so we don't waste a lot of time. The first target I gave you was the spear network itself and the spears. You know, for starting, is it not just real, but I'm pretty sure it is he scientifically proved some of this, but you know, are we perceiving it correctly? Number 1. Okay. Number 2 that I gave you connects to this right here, this book, The Cryptoterrestrials, which was written by Mac Toonies. And I know everybody talks a lot about, you know, what's guy, Max Spears. You know, you know me, I'll just be honest, I don't resonate with a whole lot of that conspiracy stuff. But I know Max Spears is a big, huge, godlike person in that world or whatever. But this cat right here, Mac Toonies, he wrote a couple of books. He wrote this one, and he died of he unlived by cardiac arrhythmia. Like right after he put this out, and people say it was how he was unalived was very, very odd. Okay, so just food for thought on that. But what he did in this book is he calls it the cryptoterrestrial hypothesis. And one reason I mention that in the videos because, man, I've seen cats writing papers on this using that, the cryptoterrestrial hypothesis, and they never even mentioned this cat. Man. Anyway, so what it states is that there are various non-human intelligences that have been living here in secret and evolving on Earth right here with us. And that they live underground, inner sea, and places like that. And he divides them into 4 categories. The human, ancient human, okay, and we've dealt with that a lot, ancient humans type. And then you've got the extraterrestrial ET factor, okay, that's another group. Then another group that is hominid theroid, which is which can be both dinosaur-like or gorilla-like. We've seen that too, all right? And he's got another one that seems like it's more like a lizard or magical beings, which he puts in like sin and things like that, and things that this Uranta book over here would call the midway creatures, secondary midwayers. You got primary midwayers and secondary midwayers. The secondary midwayers are much more close to mortality, like mortals like you and I are, and can kind of come and go and play tricks and stuff, like Jinn, and they described a lot of like that. So that's another category he puts up. All right. He's one of the first people. He died in 2009. This book came out in 2008, I think. But he was saying that he kept saying that the cryptoterrestrials in the inner Earth, though, operate within a hive mind, all the different species together.
Whoa, that's weird.
And in that way, so my question, my second, that was why I gave you the second. I wanted to see, is it the cryptoterrestrials that actually built that defense system, and they're the ones that we talk about the wars we've seen in the sky and the stuff that was written in the ancient texts. But you look at Patrick Jackson, he starts showing like he says these aren't just the system he's most interested in is in our atmosphere, but then he starts showing this configuration out in deep in space out there, and he's saying it's the same thing at a fight out there, and he starts showing some of them like looks like they're blinking a lot going along. He said, and they're blinking. He said, I think that's the war they're talking about. I mean, it's pretty strong. Well, yeah, well, you know that's going on. Think about like what I mentioned about the regression I had done just a while. It's been probably a couple months ago now, and it was I was doing Earthbound Spirit release, and the Earthbound attached to this client was a mantid, and it said it was in a crash. And it was, and I asked him, first of all, it's weird. What is your civilization like? But why didn't you not cross over and everything? And it starts saying, that they were ambushed, that they're on a mission, that they come to Earth. And he kept saying, we're warriors. But we got caught they were in some sort of a chamber where they're all like in sort of stasis, and they're telepathically communicating with contactees one at a time. And it's to help progress us forward. And it said when they were in the stasis, they got attacked by reptilians in our atmosphere. And something about their defenses were down enough to where it crashed their ship. And then it was pissed off because how the humans that found them treated them and killed the one that was left, and it too. Okay. And that's why it kept saying, we're peaceful. We're so advanced. Oh, but we're armed to the teeth. It kept saying that we're warriors because of the way it had died. But when thinking about what Jackson is saying and showing, and things like that, it's not so ridiculous, is it? I know some of this takes us into, of course, the SSP stuff, and I much respect to those people, but I'm trying to kind of keep things to where we can get more solid proof is what I want, more than just fantastical stories. You know what I mean? Things that can be backed up with science. That's why I wanted you to do this, because and it ties into all this other stuff. Tons of data. You want to go over it, and that's now everybody knows what we're talking about. And if it's BS or not. So there you go. But it's really fascinating, And the point being, it would appear that the fact somebody's looking up for humans to not get spontaneously combusted, and cares enough to actually defend this planet, is it them, it's them that also is messing with the nuclear weapons? Was it them that's talking to the Zimbabwe children? Are they all the same faction that cares about Earth enough, the ones that they've been defending it since we were a type 2 civilization? And people like, if you think about it, Jessica, real quick, and I'll shut up, I promise you. The inner Earth is the perfect place to exist on this planet, opposed to the catastrophic things we get here on surface. Okay, you can control so much from underground, including the entry and exit points. And I'm convinced that you and your team are stumbling on those.
Yeah.
And that's what some of these things, radiations and all that. We're dealing with a lot of radiation here.
Wow.
Well,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple of our teammates pass away from you can't say for sure positively that it was because of that experience out at the meadow, but even Bob was suspicious of that before he died. And we've always been suspicious, and there are multiple people on the team who have health issues, let's just say, it could be from the research that we do. There's a lot of, like I said, the constant are orbs. We always have orbs. Just about every time we go out there, somebody sees an orb. And as a matter of fact, I was out in the field 2 weeks ago, and about 2 weeks ago, with one of my teams, and we were, Don had all these cameras out set up around our base camp, and around at some point he thought he saw some light beings. Well, I think those light beings actually ended up being me and Keith. Okay, Keith and I walking back, so it wasn't any. I don't think that was paranormal, but right after us, an orb followed us back, like towards where he and I were kind of camped down the way a little bit. Like he was camped a little further away than I was, further away than he was. From the group.
Type 3s watching what y'all are doing.
It was
scaring you out, but to send information up to the uplink.
That's what they do.
And more than that, especially what comes to my mind is when you talk about you had the soldiers who you couldn't see them. You thought people were shining lights or something.
Yes, yeah, in Alabama.
That in this case, this takes us into something else too. There's been those quote unquote the sound of the trumpet that people's been hearing, or the metal scraping sounds that we've been hearing in cities. Somebody sent that to me from Chicago. They're out there outside of their terrace. They said, "Here's one of these things, Marion. It's this machine sound." I'm starting to wonder how much of that is also connected to this weapon system. Food for thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're always trying to figure out where all these orbs are coming from. But Don has a really good orb on video following right down the path where Keith and I had walked, going back to where our side of the camp was. And it was translucent too. It was like, it was solid but translucent. Do you know what I mean? Like it had substance to it. There was something to it. It wasn't a bug, and it wasn't humidity. It wasn't.
So these things, you got the 3 classifications of type 3s. It could have very well be one of those. You know what I mean? And it's fascinating because we know something else about them too. Since we're dealing with an advanced extraterrestrial species, cryptoterrestrial species, whatever the HE double hockey sticks. But the thing is that you've got these drones that they send and receive. And if you are calling them psychically, they respond. That's the level that they're on. That's one of the reasons people are able to call these things up. Patrick, I watched a deal with him, and he's showing a video of this orb, and it goes boom. It goes through this wall real quick, and all of a sudden you start hearing this boom, 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 boom. Like several times. He said it's that thing doing it. What it's doing is putting the propulsion against the door, or whatever, that metal in there, so that the people in there will go run in there and see what it is, because there's something other path of upload so they don't get hurt. And they get out of the way of that radiation microwave upload, gamma burst upload. So, I think that's fascinating. You know what I mean? It changed the way you look at actual haunted locations. Those things are trying to make the poltergeist triple. You know what I mean? And if you think about if you think about it, Jessica, why is it sometimes and you're in a haunted house or haunted location and it's no activity, then all of a sudden it flares up?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's these things when they get ready to do this upload, they start making these psychic poltergeist projections of all sorts of types. And then they upload that information. It's that power. We're dealing with the radiation power, gamma radiation, and also, like I said, microwave. And that takes me into, don't even get me talking about the Fermi bubbles, because I believe the Fermi bubbles are part of the intergalactic warp physics as far as some of these advanced species. And I got that. The star beings are giving me that, tearing me up while I'm trying to go walk at 4 o'clock in the morning. Gamma, the stuff comes through. It's a trip. Anyway, I'm done. But yeah, you got a bunch of data, and I think it'll be cool to see now that everybody knows what the heck we're talking about. So
yes,
whether it be good or bad.
Curious says, I've seen about 4 or so orbs around you over the years, Jessica. Yes. I have had plenty of videos where I have either been live on air or doing like videos with when I used to do my card readings on air before I was like straight up into the all cryptid stuff. I've had orbs. I had an orb that like came out of my chest one day or one night. I don't know if y'all remember that on the show, but it startled me because I could see it through the camera. And then it like went around my head. That was a weird night. That was a really weird night. But I've often had orbs around me, and I assume they were like, passed over loved ones or something. I don't know. But that one that was in my tent, Barry, that floated into my tent. I've talked about this repeatedly on my show. I was laying in my tent up in North Georgia. We were on an expedition, and I was laying there, and I was just kind of awake, and I was listening for the Bigfoots to whistle and hoop and stuff. And I watched this big orb about this big. It was about the size of a big softball, bigger than a softball, floated into my tent, and it was surveilling me. I knew it was surveilling me because it just kind of hovered over me. And then it left out of my tent and it went into the tent next to mine. And they have that on camera. We actually caught that on video going into the next tent. It was surveilling all of us. So my question was like, well, is this natural or did somebody send this? Like who sent you? That's always my question.
Gathering data. That's what those things do. So we can say this. We can say that we know about at least 3 types of orbs. All right. One would be, like I mentioned, the beings that can condense their energy body, dream body. Okay. The other would be the example of what your co-remote viewer said his team saw, which is you have certain portals on the other side and certain whatever dimensions they're in or universe or whatever. You've got like hundreds of beings trying to squeeze through that portal all at once, or thousands. And like I mentioned before, that's like me and you try to stick our head into a ketchup bottle. But the ones that actually, the ones that actually do squeeze through, though, they emerge whatever physics it is. He kept saying it's backwards over there for some reason. But when they emerge into this density, this dimension, they emerge in collective conscious form, in orb form, sentient orb form, but it's collective. I thought that was really fascinating. So and now we've got the type 3 spear network, that there are 3 different types, including metal spears, orbs, and ball lightning. So you put those together, you're getting a little bit of something. You know what I mean? A tapestry is forming.
Man, well, I think it's wonderful that you have done so much research on this, Barry, and gave me these targets. Let's go over the first target. What exactly was the first target that you gave me?
The spears and the orbs that are considered this network. What are they? Are they, first is going to be, are they real as a network? Are we perceiving that right? I know the data will show how much does the data match what Patrick is saying. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
What did you think when you saw it? Before we go over the data, was the data on target, you think?
I thought it was badass. No, sorry, excuse me. I thought it was great.
Okay.
I mean, I need
to write down.
It's about as weird as you could. It's about as weird as you get. I mean, I think it's on point. I mean, it's just more than what I expected.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why when you get done going over it. Well, it's nothing really to say. It's just the extraterrestrial part that you keep putting in there, and I'll plan it. I thought was fascinating. That takes it, but there's a portion of cryptoterrestrial that still occupies that too. So,
Oh yeah, you remember I always say the head of my team has always said all roads lead back to ET. Okay, all roads lead back to ET when it comes to all this cryptid stuff, whatever's going on. It's ET. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into this. Okay. So let's go over some of the sensory data for this target. I got sliding, hot, round or rounded, green, applied, explode, bang, hit, and clipped. Okay. That's what I picked up on. Now, my analytic overlay, this is like me kind of making sense of what I'm sensing. If that makes sense. Okay. Okay. I wrote down tropical, trees, jungle, ounce, factory and factory reset, I was picking up on something from bad to worse. That's what I wrote down. From bad to worse. I picked up on a humanity reset. Humanity reset. A big bang. Something that was topsy-turvy. A near miss. What I thought I was seeing was something like a hit, like an asteroid, a bomb, or a meteor. What I was seeing was something that was like hitting the Earth or hitting a planet, is what I thought I was seeing. And it's interesting because the picture I wrote was like it was almost like an explosion or like something that was, I don't know, it could be anything, but it was that kind of like I don't know, a curvy little circle with a line going through it. I don't know. So that's what I wrote so far.
Like one of these type 3s when it's uploading and exploding with the energy and the that's what it sounds like to me. Energized plasma.
Energized plasma. That's and actually a lot of my pictures look like kind of like plasma and stuff, you know. So anyways, let's go. Okay, so I was picking up on something blended, hidden, and I wrote taken off the map, hidden from the public. And something that was elevated. I was seeing like elevation and what I thought looked like a topography map. If you know what a topography map looks like, because this is what I was drawing, like stuff like that. I was just seeing like all these weird blobby lines and stuff, and so I thought I was maybe looking at a topography map. But I picked it up on. Hold on. Ejected. Okay, something that was being ejected, and I was seeing something coming out of the ground, ejected from the ground. Okay, and so I wrote that there are parameters and perimeter, something that of a wide, vast area, but like there's parameters and perimeters of it, and there was something being thrusted up and thrusted out. So something was coming out of the ground and it was being thrusted into the air, and that's when I wrote like that drawing right there.
My goodness,
okay.
Doesn't that
Ejected.
sound like, you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's wild, right? So I was seeing stuff getting thrusted out and thrusted up. Out and up. Okay, so this is interesting. This is the third page of data that I have. And I wrote what I thought was, okay, so I wrote the firmament. And I was seeing what I thought was like, I wrote curved and curvature. That was some of my sensory data. A dome, what I thought was like a dome, and I wrote the firmament, and I wrote space launch. Okay, because I was seeing something like going from the ground into the air and curving over. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's like a rocket being launched, and it's like hitting, it's like going across the curve of like a firmament or something. That's what I was seeing, what I was sensing. And so this is the drawing that I drew for that, because what I was seeing looked like something like a rounded dome with something shooting into like up to the dome, but like not going up, but kind of curving just like the dome was curved. Okay. And so that's what I was seeing. I wrote dome. Something that was invisible. Concave is another word that I wrote. Enclosed. And what I thought, I think I spelled terrarium wrong. I don't know. I might have spelled it right, but I wrote terrarium on there because I felt like, you know, in the beginning of this target, I felt like I was in a jungle, like a tropical area. And so I was seeing like, it was almost like dare I say a biodome or something. That's what I felt like I was in. And I wrote down air, oxygen, and atmosphere. I felt like I was inside of terrarium. Okay. I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, I had to make a terrarium for school, and I took like a 2-liter Coke bottle and I cut it and I put moss and plants down in it and water and rocks and mushrooms or whatever else was in the yard. And then I covered it, and it was its own little, you know, little vegetation jungle, you know, for my project, right? For my science project. And that's the vibe I was getting for this target. I wrote biodome, bioweapon. And the last thing I wrote was full. I don't know if the word full came up. So I wrote that. And then I ended the session at that point. So I don't know. What do you make of all that, Barry?
Well, you're describing the exact thing that he says that the type 3 does. It uploads to the type 1, then to the type 2, then to the type 3. And, you know, these things go through these phases when they receive the information or whatever. They start going through these phases he kind of describes before they even do this burst of energy. But you're describing that as well. And then you're also describing when it turns into that V, the type ones turn into the triangle.
Yeah.
How they're actually targeting something. You know what I mean? That's what you're describing. And then the other part of it that I had noticed when I was reading it that I thought was even more interesting is that some of that very much to me seemed to tie into Target 2. So we can just go over that if you want, because Targeted 2 was actually what is the origin of the spheres network of the orbs that are connected to that. What is the origin of them? You know what I mean? Where do they come from?
Who sent you?
Directly. And I wanted to know if that tied into the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis. You know, I feel it does, but this will just back it up. You know, and it could be, it could be somebody else. And let's say it, man. I hate to say it, but the other targets, what you got with that other stuff, had to eat some crow on that whole Galactic Federation thing. But you got that on 3 different targets in the data. Who's helping us? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I know that the beings I work with, the alliance I work with helps, but they're different. They're not like whatever this galactic thing is. And I laughed at that because I used to laugh at that name because to me it was cornier than the Ashtar commands, and it just seemed like a Star Trek knockoff to me. So I clapped it. But that doesn't can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? And I remember when that came through on the crop circles, you got emotional. So it's pretty serious, the message.
Pretty serious. That's right. Okay. Well, let's see. Okay. Let's get into this one. Who sent them? Okay. Where'd they come from? What's the origin? Well, it's interesting because one of the first things you asked me is are either of these targets alive? And I wrote you back. I said, well, actually, alive is in my sensory data for the second target. So some of my sensory data for the origin of the spheres in the network, destructive, alive and living, by the way. Okay. So living, jump, reckless, communicating, and tones. Now, in this target, I was picking up on frequencies, vibrations, and tones. I was picking up on a 100% SOS. And what I thought I was remote viewing was a signal coming from another planet out into the solar, or a planet out into the solar system, out into the universe. An SOS. Like I was picking up on Morse code and all that, like some kind of alert system. Okay, that's the second target. Okay, so let me go through the analytic overlay down. I heard epitome of destruction. I heard that and I wrote it down. So epitome of destruction. Time jumps. In-house. I guess that means like it's from here. Okay, it's in-house.
Cryptoterrestrials. There you go.
Yeah, I heard easy does it. So we're down easy does it. Psychic skills, communication. Okay, communication. Signals out of there. I wrote down frequency, tones, vibrations, SOS, Morse code, and then I actually wrote, look right here, dot dot. Listen, my grandfather did communications with Norfolk Southern. Okay, he was a train operator. He did the communications for that, and when he was in World War II, he did the communication, so he knew Morse code, and he even had it all written out. And he used to teach us when we were kids, the dot dots and stuff, and every letter has a dit and a dot, basically, and so that's how you communicate. So I was literally picking up on Morse code when I was doing this target. You go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay.
But I will say this. He says that the hive mind of the cryptoterrestrials have made a super intelligence under the earth too, and it's the super intelligence that controls this weapon system. And in that way, you think about like the drones we have now that we're dealing with. sometimes, they're probably both. They can probably be controlled manually and also by artificial intelligence. So it's like, I think they're probably both also. Anyway, sorry, I just want to say that, but please keep going.
Man, that's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to show the audience what I drew. Okay, so what I drew was something coming from a source. Okay, it was round. What I thought I was seeing, what I was picking up on was almost like a planet or some source that was emitting a sound. Okay, it was emitting a frequency. It was almost like it was being spread out all across the universe. Okay, that's what I was seeing, was a sound, a tone, an SOS that was emitting, and it was being sent out all across the entire universe. I mean, that's literally what I was seeing when I was remote viewing this. And I tried
SOS,
to
but
draw
you feel it's a positive signal?
Well, I said SOS. SOS usually is it's a call for help. It's a call for help. But see, that was the only thing that I could compare it to. Like, that's the only thing that I knew to describe that. The only way I knew to describe it. That's what I was seeing and what I was sensing. It was just communication. I literally wrote communication down. Some sort of a communication.
Okay, for example, then it's not like the energy you felt that was like in our solar system when you were remote viewing. Remember the dwarf planets, Make and Sedna, I believe it was. Remember you kept talking about like a scalar frequency of energy that was going through, and that's that net thing. But this is something different you're talking about. It's not the negativity of that scalar frequency of that. So something different. I just think it's worth noting that. You know what I mean? Yes. And that kind of comes out with the same thing. Now let's just compare it to the message you got from the crop circles, which was what? It's kind of combines with that too, don't you think? Kind of fits in there? Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I've got some really good data. I got one more page of the data for this. You want to finish going over this real quick?
Oh, please.
Because it's all about signals and noise. And signal codes. I literally wrote signal codes. Okay, so I wrote signal codes coming from another planet. Okay, that's what I wrote down, coming from another planet, because that's what I thought I was picking up on, was like a SOS from another galaxy or something. Okay, but I wrote faint signal, faint noises, alien, and ET. I picked up on something that was quiet, faint, above. And I wrote space. I thought it was coming from space, is what I thought. Okay, something vast, dark. I said universe and outside of the solar system is what I wrote. It's like it's sending information outside of the solar system into the universe. And then I actually wrote looks like a 3-dimensional plane. Okay, and I was picking up on like I wrote alternate plane of existence is what I wrote down. And I wrote dimensional, multidimensional, interdimensional, and contact. Okay. And this was all under like ET, alien data. I wrote that. And that's when I ended the session right there, because I was like, this is a lot right here. So, but I find that really interesting. What do you think about it?
What do you think about it? It takes us, I was, that thing had, it's much what I expected. It was just even a little more off planet than the cryptoterrestrial hypothesis. It's all that. It's kind of all incorporated, but I thought maybe it was mostly coming from the Earth, but you got a lot of stuff coming from the other dimensions, outer space, and I'm very curious what this object is that's emitting this SOS. And I know everybody will say, oh, it's Maldek, oh, it's Planet 9. I'm sure that's coming soon, but I think it's probably something different. You know what I mean? What is this object? And you said it's almost universal, the way it's emitting that. Mm-hmm. I think that maybe takes us into the concept of architectural spheres, the planets in that way. I don't know, man.
Wow.
It's pretty heavy. What do you think?
I think it's wonderful data actually for this. I mean, just the fact that it all lines up in order. It is very centered on communication and sending signals out. Sending signals out, picking up data and sending out signals. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with my data, actually.
Yeah. Well, when the multidimensional, that might also mean when they targeted something they're catching it when it comes through one of these portals and material manifests. You know what I mean? But that's going to be the type 3s that are probably help picking that up. Anyway, sorry, you're going to say something.
No, OU812KA. Thank you for being here. It says phased array antenna systems diagrams look like your diagram. I say it looks like my diagram. I don't know what that is, but I bet Barry might. But wow, that's pretty cool.
Okay, actually, he's right because so check it out. Here, we'll keep talking. I'm going to pull up a picture as you're talking, though.
All right. Also, Frank says the Boogosphere is responding to ancient music. Wow, that's interesting too. The Boogosphere actually looks a little bit like those crop circle orbs, the orbs that are making the crop circles as well. It's metallic. Now, Barry and I have seen a video. And our friend Matthew, he shows that at some of the conferences that we speak at sometimes. But it's something that he promised the person who gave him that video. She has passed away. And he promised her a long time ago that he would not show that publicly online. Okay. For whatever reason. And so he is honoring that right now for the time being. Okay. And but it's actually metallic orbs that shoot down from the sky past someone's camera in their backyard, and it lands on the ground and it turns into a gray alien and it runs around in a circle. And then it forms back into an orb and then it shoots past the camera again. And this is a real video. And Barry has seen it.
Oh, it's incredible. That's one of the best things of footage I've ever seen, actually.
Me too.
Honestly, I mean, it's really good.
I always ask Matthew to show that to me every time I see him. I'm like, can I see that video again, please?
Yeah.
He'd never send that to me.
He must have replayed. We would have made it replay it like 10 times when we were standing over there. Remember, I was like, man, wow. Because it really just catches you off guard, sorry. Pull this up if I can.
I like the data. Thank you, guys. Y'all are fun. We have the best audience. We do.
Oh, you got a great audience. Here's one if you can see that. This is one I've got others too. And I'm just showing this because this is a deal that's kind of connected to the Tesla howitzer scalar interferometer. And if you see how kind of it uses to target at things, it's somewhat similar to the system that we're dealing with here, the Spear Network thing. Try to see if I can find another picture, maybe a little better than that one. Anyway, people can look that up. The Tesla howitzer interferometer, scalar interferometer. But I think that maybe, that shows another type of back engineering and maybe where they got the idea,
Oh, yeah.
Try this one. Oh, this one isn't that good either, but I'll share it with you anyway. I had actually a picture. There was in one of the aviation books, they had a picture of the interferometer, actually, but I couldn't find it. And I just say that's just good information for people can look up.
Oh yeah, man. This I really appreciate this target. And what's up, Barton Nunley? Thank you for being in the chat tonight. I will be seeing you soon. Okay, but anyways, we have some answers for these orbs now. Okay, I know Barton's had seen some orbs out at the LBL before, and so we can have this discussion now about the surveillance orbs. Oh wow, Barry.
See, you looking at that? Yeah, that's that interferometer, and it's interesting. And there's a part of it, and I'm sorry I can't find that picture too, but it can be reversed and turned into like a defense shield. And when the gentleman was just talking about the phased array, right there, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's correct. And when they turn it and can use it as a repulsive shield, that would be to protect Earth also. But we never heard that much about the Star Wars program. We heard about them shooting stuff down. So, but what the guy said, he's absolutely correct. So anyway, I was just showing that because if you think about the way the type 3, 2, 1, the way they're actually communicating and the way they're doing it, and if they're doing that in space too, and you've got the same type of a structure in space, and your data kind of proves that too. That's pretty heavy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. You see what I mean? That's why I didn't respond. I was like, man, you kept saying, what do you think? I said, I think you did a great job. It's on point.
Well, okay. Well, let's look at it like this too now. Okay, because here we are. We have we have surveillance orbs protecting. Let's just say they're protecting humanity. Okay, in some sort of way, they're a defense system. Does this explain the orbs? What we call, some people say they're UFOs, but they're really, a lot of them are orbs that are hovering around the nuclear plants and the weaponry sites and things like that. Does that explain what those are and why they're there?
Well, I mean, the one thing is that, that's something else that Jackson shows. He shows missiles being annihilated by the system. He's got footage of it. People should look to check him out. So, I mean, so in that way, you've got the beings that, the whatever, Federation, whatever you want to call them, that are messing with the kids, telling the kids, please protect the planet. Then they're messing with the nuclear silos to say that they have control over that to a degree. And then, if they do actually, that may be what stopped from having a major nuclear war, is that system right there. Now, obviously, they let some of the wars like we're seeing right now go on, that they don't stop. But when it comes down to, like what the beings I dealt with told me, I used to ask Jessica, I'm like, ooh, what's going to happen in the future? Especially because I would have visions. And then I would hear like some people, I had a vision of like calamity, like seeing a bunch of glass on the ground, on the streets of a major city, showing that the skyscrapers like cracked. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God. And then I heard Michael Scallion on Art Bell. He saw something similar and I got real spooked, But the truth is that, perhaps a lot of that is not happening. They weren't just shutting off the silos, but when they do emit one of these major nuclear catastrophes, these things come out. And that's why you saw the Foo Fighters starting to swarm around those airplanes. I knew a gentleman, George Bird was his name. He was a Tuskegee Airman. He's passed now. He's a friend of my father.
Oh,
and
wow.
I asked him, he was pretty declarated. I asked him, saying, Dr. Boyd, you ever seen any UFOs or anything? And he told me, he said, I saw something. He said, I saw something where he described where he was, wherever it was. But he said, it was a metal spear, he said, that went. He said, so fast in the sky. He said, he looked at me and said, Barry, believe me, I saw some of the best aircraft we had back then. There's nothing we had. And he said it was a metal spear. And they were buzzing around their craft. So it's some side of a Foo Fighter. And you know what they're probably scanning for nuclear weapons.
Oh my gosh. Probably so.
Isn't that so? I think this is cool because so often we don't get any, people say we don't get any help. But in reality, we do, Jessica, okay? And let me just tie this into something else. Since we're talking about the inner earth and this whatever could be this super intelligence down there, let's talk about the deep biosphere, which I've been talking about a long time. The deep biosphere contains 99% of Earth's undiscovered bacteria, fungal, and viral. Okay. And when we see ships that go into the ground, maybe they're not always going to a base. If they're organic craft, they're going into the dark, into the deep biosphere and doing a symbiotic connection. And when we want to talk about super intelligences, okay, within the deep biosphere is something called dark microbial matter. And dark microbial matter is what I'm talking about, the 99% of undiscovered bacteria and things. And that takes us into things like radiotropic fungus and civilizations that may have sent that here to help, that grows on Chernobyl and Fukushima, the changa. And also there's another mushroom that uses, when it gets exposed to solar radiation, it makes these odd configurations, old patterns in the mycelium. Can't think of the name of it. But anyway, stuff like that. When I said they're making mycelium to be a radiation shield for the space station and stuff like that. This all ties in. So we talk about super intelligence. It could also be biological to a degree also. And that might be part of the cryptoterrestrials, the dark microbial matter. And this is not just me saying stupid stuff. People can look this up. You know what I mean? But it's stuff that's completely alleviated when we deal with the contact scenario, when we deal with, no one wants to talk about that or doesn't know about it. But I think it's very important. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It is important. Absolutely. And man, this chat is going by so fast tonight, y'all. It is going by so fast. I'm trying to keep up, and there's so many wonderful comments. And I wanted to say, yeah, Nathan, thank you for that super sticker earlier. I was saying thank you, and then I don't know, I got distracted, but thank you, Nathan, for that super sticker. And Hoboken Native, thank you so much for the super sticker as well. That is so sweet of you. I do appreciate it. And y'all are so sweet. But yes, we are fart hard. Sovereign. I swear, man. That's so funny. Yes, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. And thank you for all the support y'all given us this evening. And yeah. Barry, I think that this is fantastic. Why is nobody else talking about this stuff? I don't know. I'm not saying they aren't, but I have not heard of any of this.
You know, I'm not trying to be a DICK, but look, now that we done talked about it, somebody's going to bring it up. I mean, it's not that that's why I want to say I'm not an expert on all that stuff, but I've tried to understand something. A lot of the spirit brings in, and you helped out with it. But I mean, between that and like the data, like I said, the data you had for the others, everybody should check that out. The nuclear missiles, you reviewed that one for me. Blind target. The Zimbabwe children and school children, the school abductions, the school encounters. Can't find that book now. You did those ones, okay? And then you did the crop circles. Those three definitely connect to this spirit network. No way around it. You know what I mean? It's very interesting, and it broadens our horizon of what we're actually dealing with, especially when we want to talk about who is helping us and who's partially defending this planet. And maybe it's not us, they're helping their own selves, because we're out here on the surface, we get bombarded by all sorts of stuff. So we might just be another line of defense for them, and they don't care. I don't know, but somebody wanted to stop people from being combusted by those type 3s. So somebody cares, you know what I mean? And like I said, that when it comes to the radiotropic fungus, when we start dealing with civilizations that have done the miniaturization and going like not just to nano, but going down to the pico, as I've said before on your show, but then they start actually exploring the universe from within. Can you imagine if they're on the pico, what a Dyson sphere, but around their sun and their planets and their solar system would actually be like? How advanced that would be? Yeah. Wow. You know, when I was at that ranch, and it's only the third time and last time I was out there, anybody about to tell me there was like a pair of $7,000-8,000 infrared binoculars out there. That was nice. But when I used it, I was tripping. I was zooming in and seeing way beyond our atmosphere, you know, seeing like what you're looking at, not just constellations, but might be galaxies almost out there. You know what I mean? And you're seeing these things going really quick, lighting up and then going dim and then going from like star to star out there. Yeah. And I was tripping on it. You know, I was like, whoa, and people start laughing. I said, how are you laughing? Have you not seen this? They don't have any idea what they're looking at. Well, I had Dr. Shields one-on-one. I asked him, I said, what was I seeing out there? He said, Barry, what do you think it was? I said, I think it was Dyson spheres using hyperdimensional hyperwarp physics. And you can see them for a minute when they break the barrier, and you can see them after and see the trail. But it's instantaneous almost, the travel they're doing. And you know what he said? When I got done with my long-winded explanation, was longer than that.
What did he say?
Goes, Barry, I think they're exactly what you think they were. Just saying. Well, he's not a contactee. He's a scientist, or was. I think he's still alive. Anyway, just food for thought on that. It's just bottom line. I know we got to go to the other things. So, but just thanks for doing that. I think it's cool. It gives everybody something to look up on their own and learn about it, and they'll go much further than we have with it. That's what it is. Just bringing awareness to some of these things that have some type of a scientific backup. As what is it? 411. Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence when I put on my black, my men's? I don't care.
Where's the proof?
Men for only, just for men only. You know.
Here's the proof.
I only got probably a few
Show
years
me
left.
the receipts.
They'll get me eventually. Yeah. But
Show
I mean,
me the
seriously,
receipts.
you know, and it's an answer all no, but it is some data, and it's comparable, and it's got a lot of sync with what somebody that has done a lot of study on that. And when people check out Patrick Jackson, he's done tests to prove that those orbs are making those gamma bursts and those microwave bursts. Okay, he's got them making diversions, hauntings. He's got that, and he says that's something new they started doing when they got those other type 2s. I think that's just fascinating when I compare that with the information your team has got, especially with radiation places. Yeah. And he was explaining that how, there's a problem with radiation in those installations anyway, because these things are using buildings and houses and places to hide. And when you said topographic in your data, what I'm seeing is a type 1 that was probably collecting from just multiple type 2s, collecting from multiple type 3s all over the place on the planet. Can you imagine how they must be hot spots all over? And when they start wailing up before they do that emission, that's when places get haunted. You have a flare and haunting. I think that's really hard to nobody's been able to discredit Patrick Jackson yet. So I'm just saying, I can't. Can you? We certainly can't. We're agreeing. Anyway, let's go to the next target. We got something else to talk about. So I don't know.
Okay. No, this was fantastic. I absolutely love this target, Barry, and I really enjoyed your show on Sunday. And I think it's just the cryptoterrestrials, the orbs, the surveillance of the orbs. We have a protection system against all the bad people in this world that want to nuke us all the time. They're going to stop it. Okay. Yeah. And I have faith in that. And actually, I think that's good for humanity's, just to keep our vibes a little higher now. Like we're not, because we're under constant attack with like the loosh monsters, right? I call them loosh monsters. The darkness in this world is like, always pushing us to the brink, right? Of war and bombs and death and, just loosh. They're just collecting loosh is what they're doing. And it's good to know that there is a defense system in place to stop these maniacs from destroying this planet, hopefully. Right?
Yeah.
It's good for the morale.
I mentioned I asked this team I deal with what's going to happen in the future. They would never show me anything. It made me think they didn't know that maybe we are on different times that can change so much timelines. But they did show me the past. They said this will never happen again. I'm getting that in my mind. I'm seeing Earth floating around our sun, like orbiting our sun. But what I'm seeing is an orbit, like the orbit is like going downwards almost. All the planets are due to the frame drag. So I wonder if we got that when we see that they don't go what we're told. They're going down like almost time-like curves in a way. But I'm seeing the Earth and it looks like, honestly, it looked like an ash. It looked like an ash.
Ash?
Like, like people that smoke blunts or cigarettes, they have an ash on there.
Ash.
That ash, or come from like a fire.
I love saying that word.
An ember, maybe. No, it wasn't glowing. It looked like it was burned out. And they said, and they put in my mind that will never happen again. And it makes me wonder, when you go back to the beginning of Earth, what all has really happened here? How many times has Earth have to regenerate? That's why it behooves us. We're talking about the deep biosphere and thinking about things like the isosthesis and how we can maybe trigger some of that unknown bacteria, unknown viral into what's called the lysogenic reproduction cycle, where it's actually giving energy to the host and replicating in that way. Like when it injects its code, can that be done with the Earth? And can that be used for regeneration of the Earth? Mm-hmm. Just the same way the isosthesis would use what's called the lambda phage and converting that to lysogenic to actually keep you, the light in your dead body cells and then to give you the ability to not lose your life memories upon death. It's things like that. We need not make all these different classifications. Like that's what this target has showed. It doing dimensional Earth, all space. You got a little bit of everything in that last bit there. So I definitely got one of those dudes. I got a little more than I thought I would shoot, a little more than I thought, which is cool though.
You bit off more than you could chew.
Yeah, that's having a bunch of these things, man.
As always.
That's all right. So that's why I keep doing them. They're fun.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I think we've covered those two targets wonderfully. And now before we go tonight, I do have one more target that I know the audience is wanting to hear about as well. And we're, this is actually, I don't know. I was asked by a lot of people yesterday, or was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday. John Vendeventure was here. Shout out to John. And that was a wonderful show. If you guys missed that, please go back and check it out. And so we covered this case. Well, I had remote viewed it. Okay. Had been sent out to some of the members of my remote viewing team and stuff before that show. Okay. And I didn't mention it because I wanted to save it for the show tonight, because this is my remote viewing show, y'all. And so I saved it, and I've only gotten data from one other person. So I kind of am going to combine it tonight with my data that I have. And this data is in my Patreon if anybody wants to see it. I'm not going to go over all of it. I'm going to go over some of it. It's actually quite sensitive because this just happened and this is fresh, and there are people involved, family and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be very, I don't know. I just don't want to be offensive, okay, to anyone, but I will give you the gist of what our collective data says, what the data says. Okay. Now I want to also state that I'm not stating any of this is fact or whatever. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. And, but I guess let's go over it. Okay. And please send your prayers to this woman who was brutally mauled, actually. And there were some people, I know Barton was asking if there's any updates. And so some of the updates that I think the last update that I got was from Tuesday, I think. So I haven't heard anything today. I've been going and going today, y'all. I hadn't had a chance to check on anything. But here, let me take this down right here. I've been going and going today. I have not checked on any updates, but Lance Hightower of Monster 911 had interviewed the sheriff live on air. I think it was video, but right after he did it, he put it on YouTube. So y'all go over and check that out if you would like to hear this interview, okay, that he did. But now I'll give you an update, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. Now, this is out of Oklahoma. And so about a week ago, there was a woman out of Blanco, Oklahoma. She was viciously attacked by an unknown creature. Now, it was an animal of some sort while she was visiting a home just outside of Blanco. And authorities with the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife and the Sheriff's Department are currently investigating this. And the woman's sister-in-law has been communicating with the media, I guess, and had been kind of keeping everybody up to date on what was going on. Now, the woman had gone through multiple surgeries. I believe the story goes like that she actually was going around looking for work as a farmhand. So she was going like from door to door, I think, and seeing if anybody needed some work help on their farm, I think, or on their property. And from what the sheriff said, that she was found with her truck running, and she'd probably been there for about an hour and had been was laying in the yard with her clothes ripped off and slashed, like mauled on her face, her neck, and her arm. Okay. And at first they thought that a dog had attacked her. That was like the word on the street, that a dog had attacked this woman. But I guess the homeowners were not there when this happened. And when they returned from coming in from out of town, the man that lived at the house is a EMT and an assistant fire chief in the town there. Now, this is a very, very rural area, very rural. Okay. And so I don't think there's any houses close around or anything, but he's an EMT and an assistant fire chief. He was able to do some, keep her, try to work on her a little bit while they're waiting for the police to get there and the ambulance. And she was flown out of the area, I believe, by helicopter, is what Lance said. They sent her clothes off to determine if she was attacked by a bear, a dog, or a mountain lion. Okay, that's what they thought. Now, the sister-in-law said that she remembers hearing a growl right before she was attacked, a low growl, and then something pounced on her. It was dog-like, but it wasn't a dog. Okay. Now, she's had 4 surgeries as of on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. She'd had 4 surgeries on her face, neck, and arms. The extent of bandaging and injuries are alarming. She was attacked while she was on the ground, too. So something knocked her down, and then they attacked her while she was on the ground. And it has not been resolved. But like I said, things for the saliva. I don't know how they do that, but the evidence was sent in for DNA testing. Maybe her clothing, But here's the thing, Barry. Like, I've had a lot of people send me messages. They're like, there's certain animals that wouldn't have pulled her clothes off like that. You know what I mean? But I don't know, bears. I have seen a bear attack people who have died from bear attacks and their clothes were not ripped off, but I don't know. It's not just everything's different. You know what I mean? Every scenario will be different. You can't just put one blanket idea of like how an animal attacked on everybody, on all the attacks. But I do know from experience, from looking into this stuff, we've looked into cases where they were suspected Dogman attacks, and I've been given these as targets, and I'm seeing big cats on some of these cases. Okay, big cats. And but of course the cryptid community jumps in and they're like, this was a Dogman, it was a Dogman or something like that. And that could be the case too. I mean, you just never know, right? I do want to pull up a picture. My friend Matt, good buddy of mine, sent me. I sent him the news article when I got it. Okay, so Duke of Carolina had sent me that. Thank you, Duke. Okay, and sent me that over the weekend, I believe. And I sent that to Matt, and he's sent me this. This is actually the county right here. This is.
Well, not Muskogee. Been there a bunch of times.
Oh yeah, so this isn't too far from where you live.
Family there.
Okay, well, this is the county right here. It's right in the middle of Choctaw Nation. Okay, very, very much Native American land. Okay, Muskogee, Seminole, Shawnee, just south of Tulsa. Okay, so you just keep that in mind, and this is the woman's picture. Her name is Alicia, and there is a GoFundMe, and that is on my website. If you guys want to go check out her GoFundMe and stuff, please do. She has children, and her husband is on dialysis, and she was the breadwinner in the family, I believe, for the time being, and so they're going through financial difficulties. But people are very, very much into this, knowing what happened to her. Of course, everybody is. And I had a conversation yesterday with John Vendeventer, because he's from Oklahoma. And so I asked John, what animals do you have there that are predatory? What animals are in Oklahoma that would attack? And, there's all sorts of animals. We always got to keep our eyes out, right? For the animals. Now, the first thing I believe he said were bears. They do have bears. Okay. And, I just want to keep in mind, the woman thought she was being attacked by a dog. But then she said it wasn't a dog, Barry. Okay. Dog, like, what does that even come to, like, what comes to mind when you hear that? What would you think?
I mean, well, of course, what everybody wants it to be, which is a dog, man. But to be honest with you, I mean, could it have possibly been a smaller type 3?
Like a Gugway? That's what Jay Truseeker just said a while ago. I saw that. Well, Barton said, that's a good point, Barton, because Lance brought this up when he was talking to the sheriff on his interview. I'll go to Monster 911. Okay. If you guys want to see this, it's all on my website. I'll go, there's links on my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all this. Barton says the sister-in-law said the victim told her she heard yelling and a gunshot before she lost consciousness. Okay. I hate to talk about some things maybe being covered up sometimes, you know what I mean? Small towns. But I don't know. That's interesting because the sheriff, Lance brought that up, and the sheriff said he didn't know anything about that. Okay. So I thought that was weird, because why would a sheriff not know about that? You know what I mean? But anyways, I digress. This is for entertainment purposes only, and that is only my commentary. Okay. But just, that's kind of a big detail right there. You know what I mean? So anyways. All right. Well, I was asking John what all kind of animals they have out there, and we went down the list of bears, mountain lions, panthers, even big cats that come up from like Central America and stuff. I mean, they don't know boundaries. I don't know. They could probably get through that wall, because there's holes in the wall down there at the border, right? So I don't know. But anyways, we've got cats, wolves. They don't have wolves. They're not supposed to have like red wolves anymore, I think, in Oklahoma, but I mean, it could be some kind of hybrid dog or something. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, mountain lions, bears, what they say, like pumas, and also to take into account exotic animals, exotic pets. My dad there's a man that lived down the road from my dad that was like I don't know if he was part of the cartel or something. I don't know what the hell it was, but he had lions and bears and tigers and all that out at the farm where he lived. And one day, I think he let them all loose one day. And it wreaked havoc over in that part of the state, Northwest Georgia. Okay, that was a long time ago. But lions get loose. There are, I don't know, there's all sorts of petting zoos. We got those down, and we've got safaris in Georgia. Okay.
Do they have mountain lions in
like that.
The mountains? Do they got mountain lions there?
Yes. Yeah, they have mountain lions there. Yes. There are mountain lions in Oklahoma. Oh, Corey's in here. Thank you. Corey lives in Oklahoma. What's up, Corey Cole? We've still got the red wolves here, Jessica. I've seen them. So they say they're not I was reading that they don't have wolves there anymore, but Corey says they're still there because he's seen them. Okay. And they have coyotes as well. Coyotes. But see, the amount of damage that was done to that poor woman is more, I would think that's more than a coyote would do. But
what's with the clothes being taken off? That's the weird thing. I mean, that's something that something would do. I mean, it's different to have clothes that are just, mauled or rendered off of you. But that it sounds like this thing was like trying to get her naked or something, like for molesting or something. That's got that humanoid factor to it. That's kind of what I caught off of it when he said that. Anyway, why would it be taking his clothes off? There's something else going on there.
Well, I know that is weird. He said that she was completely naked. That's what the sheriff said, and I was thinking, man, it's interesting to I was asking John that. I was like, a lot of us that live in towns and rural areas, we have cameras around our houses, right? Everybody's got a Ring camera just about now, or some kind of camera similar to that, or cameras outside their house. And, so there's a lot of questions here. John was like, well, being that far out in the country, there's really no reason to have cameras. So I don't know.
Until now, okay. Right?
Yes.
Until now.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's get into some of this data, because I know you guys everybody's very curious about this, and so am I. Okay, and let me read some of these comments before we get into this. I live an hour south of where this happened. I can say we have had some portals open here, and I believe some angry ancestors have come through, as well as Dogman. I've seen a will-o-wisp here. Whoa. Angelia.
Will-o-wisp.
That's wild. Or Angela, sorry. That's your name.
The glowing wisp.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's what they're referring to. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's really interesting.
My Native American friend had told me I would witness wisp. I never heard that term. I've looked them up. There were these big things look like fireflies, but they weren't. They were something different. They were really big, though, with enough luminosity not that much luminosity on them. Very odd. Fireflies that did appear to not blink. Anyway, sorry, I'm just curious. That's all. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay. I was just reading Joe's comment. Was flesh taken away, eaten, or was she just beaten badly? Her bicep was missing. Okay. So she was torn pretty badly. Okay. The sheriff actually said that. I was almost shocked at how candid the sheriff was, because this has to be like an open investigation. You know what I mean? So I was literally shocked that he got so candid with all of that. And yeah. So, okay. Well, let's just get into this. Yeah. I'm with Bigfoot Dwarf. I didn't want to believe it was like Dogman too. You know what I mean? Like as a cryptid researcher, I don't always go straight to, Bigfoot or Dogman. It's usually through all these targets that I've been given from these attacks, it's usually an animal of some sort. Not always, but sometimes. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, real quick, you know what comes to my mind? What Vic Cundiff told you, remember? When he interviewed him? Remember
what did he say?
He said he never heard any real new proven reports of dogmen hurting anybody. And every time he come across the type of story, it was never a dogman or a crap. Amazingly enough, I was late that show, and when I came in was right when he was telling you that when I started listening. Mm-hmm. That was fascinating. Yeah. And he's heard a lot of accounts.
He's interviewed more people than anybody I know about Dogman encounters. That is the name of his podcast. If you guys go over there and want to check it out, go look up Dogman Encounters, Vic Cundiff. That's my buddy. I need to get Vic back on the show soon. I hadn't talked to Vic in a while. Okay. Well, Okay, let's see. Let me read these. I'm just, y'all, I know y'all have wonderful comments. Carrie says, according to Lance's interview, that area is known to have exotic hybrid-like animals. Yes, that's another point. Okay, and I think that's interesting because this data might actually kind of might point to that actually. So let's get into it. Okay, so some of the sensory data. Let's just go over the sensory data. Falling, fast. The target was actually the attack. Okay, the attack. So I'm not going to go over all of this because of the sensitivity of this. Okay, but I'll get just some key points if we can find some data that has to do with the animal. Okay. So falling, fast, quick, standing, stranded, ejected, scratched, and dizzy. Okay, that's some of the. So some of the like analytic overlay was like whiplash and taken away, cast away, bloody. Like it was definitely something going on. Somebody was being attacked. Okay, hold on. I should have gone over this and like picked out exactly what we were going to talk about first before I brought it up. Okay, before I brought this one up, I believe that. Hold on. Okay, let me go into the second page of data actually because there's clearly an attack. Okay, in the data there's clearly an attack. There's clearly someone getting brutalized basically by something, and they've tried to fight. But I just think that there was overpowered. There's that. Okay. Now, there was what came into like the second page of data on mine was a circus. And so that was part of the analytic overlay was circus animals. Okay. And we're talking, and what was written down were lions and tigers, lion and tiger. I wrote lions and tigers on mine. And so, not to get into like this is all on my Patreon. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not going to talk about all this because it's kind of sensitive, like I said. But the gist of it is, I think through analyzing my data and the other person who had remote viewed this, I think that there's something to do with a large cat. Okay, a large cat. If I had to take a guess, I think that I don't think there's any type of dogman involved in this. Okay. And that is from remote viewing this. There's no sign of a dogman in this at all. But there is some kind of feline aspect. Okay. According to the data. Okay. According to the data, I believe it is feline of some sort. And yes, it is brutal. And also there was the phrase cover up is also in this data as well. So I don't know. Just be aware of that. And yeah. If you guys want to see this, y'all go over to my Patreon. Okay. I just can't talk about all this. There's a lot of really, really good data actually out of this. But I did pick up on some sort of a circus animal. Okay. And by circus, that could be anything. Shoot, they have bears in the circus too, right? But I wrote in mine, it says circus animal and lions and tigers. Okay. So I would assume it would be more feline, I think. Something that attacked that woman. Okay. Wow. So that one's going to be short and sweet, y'all. And there is a lot of data.
You know that they want it to be. They need it to be Dogman. You know that.
Yeah. Well, I'd even hesitate to do targets like this publicly, talk about this publicly, because of it's fresh and there's someone that is injured and their family has been devastated by this. And so, yeah, I believe it's a big cat. Now, could there be some sort of a, lion in the area? I mean, that is not completely unheard of. Okay. It could be a mountain lion. You know what I mean? Cause I wrote lion. So it could be like a mountain lion or something. And they have a really scary growl. Okay. Joe says, was there a circus in the vicinity? Probably not. Probably.
That's what I was wondering too, actually. That's a great question. Yeah. That's exactly what I was wondering.
Well, here's another thing too. What about like those, like we have those safaris, like we have one down in southwest Georgia, kind of like, I think it's near the Troop Herd Corridor near Callaway Gardens, maybe that area. There is a wild safari down there. They do have lions and tigers and giraffes. And I think they do, at least. I've never been, but it's one of those places where you can go and you drive through it. You can roll your window down and the animals will lick your face and stuff. And try to get in your car and you can feed them, or it's weird. I don't know. It doesn't seem that fun to me. Okay, but anyway, I'd probably take my son. He probably would like it.
Who, me?
But yeah,
well,
Ben.
I did that stuff when I was younger, and I traveled with my parents. We went to a couple of those places, and like the cave or whatever. Like different caves you go through there and ride through. It was all right, but I personally am just not real big on. I'm not really the safari brother, That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is, there's some good comments in here, and asking about the gunshot, and because she did say that, and I found it very interesting. I'm no detective, y'all. Might be a psychic detective, okay, like that kind of a thing. Inadvertently, I've become a psychic detective somehow, but it's interesting, the reaction of the sheriff when he was like, I don't know anything about that. When Lance brought up the gunshot and the person yelling that she had recalled at some point, the victim, that's the victim. Okay, so I just think that is like one of the most important details right there.
Yeah, and nobody was around and saw her getting attacked and saw it, did they?
Well, allegedly, I don't know. That's what they say. So I don't know. The person who owned the house is a assistant fire chief too. So I don't know, the truth, the story will come out. It'll come out. I think everybody's kind of jumped the gun on this a little bit. A lot of people who are just want all the answers. We all want answers, to things like this, especially people who live around there. We need to know what to look out for. And is there a danger in the area? Is there a wild animal on the loose that's bloodthirsty? It does kind of sound like the behavior of like a bear with her cubs in the area, like maybe a mama bear. It's just weird that'd be on somebody's property and like a mountain lion just attack like that in somebody's front yard.
When I read it, I kind of had, for some reason, I thought that too, bear. It doesn't mean it's right, but it just seemed like there were some things, that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, my gun is innocent. So interesting. I like your name. It might have been dogs owned by the homeowner. He might have, acted. I don't know. That's all speculative. So it's all speculative. Yeah, like I said, it could be anything, y'all. It could be just we need to wait for more information to come out. But for long story short, through remote viewing it, there was one other person that had remote viewed this and myself, and we do think it's probably a cat, some sort of large cat. Okay, that's what we think. That doesn't mean that's just from the data, because it said circus animals in my data. Okay, so anyways, yeah, hold tight, y'all. The truth will come out one day.
I think that's good. To be honest with you, I don't mind the data in terms of it. It's just much more realistic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to discredit Dogman and all that, but it just.
Oh no, Dogman exists too.
So sometimes people get a bad rep when it's not even their gig. You know what I mean? It's easy to blame that on Dogman when it was a more natural creature than even that. You know what I mean? It's just
yes. There's a lot of critters out there that will attack you. Okay, and I don't know. I have literally heard less.
If a situation someone's hurt like that, those medical bills are going to be extreme, and maybe throwing a little bit of mystic in there and things that gather more attention, will help. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, Angela, who lives over there, says, we do have some strange things out here, though. A Bigfoot sighting out there a couple of months ago, about an hour west. They had Bigfoot researchers out there. Yeah, we've got a lot of friends. We got Corey's in the chat too. He lives out there. Gary Spikes Sr. lives out there. And John Vanderventure lives out that way. And John's got Bigfoots in his yard, like on his property.
I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that the Wichita Mountains out there is extremely active, like with several different types of Sasquatch. I don't know if it's true, but I've just heard that. And I've been hearing that for a long time. My Native American friend Travis Leffler, but he passed away about 10 years ago now. He was from that area, and he said that to the Wichita Mountains he'd seen Sasquatch. Yeah, and little people, he said too. Yeah.
Barton, I'm with you. That's what I said. This is the fact the sheriff was speaking candidly in public about an open, active investigation astounded me. Me too. It almost didn't make sense. I was like, what? And I'm sure Lance told him, he had to have told him, hey, I'm recording you. Is it okay that I'm a reporter or something? I don't know what Lance told him. Who knows? But I that was astounding to me as well. It was so candid. Being an open investigation like that. And Lance also asked him, he said, well, has this been turned over to like we have the GBI, so it'd be like the OBI, Oklahoma Bureau of Investigations, I guess. The OB. It makes you wonder, like, he said, well, no, right now it's just the sheriff's department and the wildlife department or whatever. We're investigating it. They're just treating it as like a wild animal attack, basically, is what he said. So I don't know, for her to lose a daggum bicep. I mean, I have to wonder, like, did it just scratch her or did it I don't know. I hate talking about this. It's really sensitive, Barry. I'm sorry, y'all.
It's not bothering me. I'm all right.
We're getting graphic. Over here. Thank you, Robin.
I was talking about Jack the Ripper not that long ago.
Yeah.
That was about as morbid as it gets.
That was pretty rough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is something that I bring up every show where I am given targets to remote view that are attacks by suspected cryptids. Where are the trackers? Why are trackers not called in? Professional trackers to come pick out the footprints, like the tracks of these animals that attack people. Where are they at? Why are they not called in? And if they are, why is that information not disclosed to the public?
Exactly.
It would take my team. I got some fellas on my team. It would take them 2 seconds to figure out what attacked that woman. So I'm just saying, that's why I think the part of that data towards the end where it said cover up, that might be kind of important. So I'm not saying there is one, but I'm just saying it was in my data. So
what is it my mother always used to say? Where there's smoke, there's fire often. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What sucks is I'm just so leery of the stuff that hits the news anymore and comes to us by these outlets. I'm just very leery. You know what I mean? And now we've got this whole AI thing going on now, and it's just getting like a mess. You can't. I mean, what was I watching earlier? Oh gosh, there's some sort of creature on there, and it looked so real. It looked like something was really going on. Where you think it's got to be AI. You spend your time thinking, "Gosh, do I need to put it through the AI feeder or AI reader?" It's like, oh, God, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this woman really got attacked for sure, but this is one of those cases that's very sad, and this is interesting. Corey says the men investigating tiger attacks in India wear backwards facing masks to help keep tigers from attacking them from behind. Yes, maybe that's what I need to wear so the people quit backstabbing me all the time. I'm just kidding. Stupid backstabbers.
Well,
I see you. I got eyes on the back of my head.
When mentioning that, I'm going to jog your memory a little bit. It's interesting. They say that, but that also gives an astounding resemblance to a blind target I gave you. Do you remember?
I don't know. Which one was that? Oh, the one where the face turns backwards. It was like some kind of African cryptid or something. Shapeshifter.
Kishi, K-S-H-I, the Kishi. Yeah.
The Kishi. I remember that.
My brother's guy looks like basically Milli Vanilli here up front, but in the back, the dreads in the back is a wolf.
It's a hyena.
It's a wolf in the back, or like a monster wolf type of thing. Hyena, yeah. And all the illustrations you see the road look like Electric Avenue. Oh no, it looks like that up front, and then you turn around. Oh, but I've talked to people. They say the Kishi's real. I've heard that from a long time ago. I heard that from even exchange students. Yeah, so very interesting.
Yeah.
But they said they'd be out in the clubs in like Nigeria.
Oh man,
Yeah, be out clubbing, man.
Check through the dreadlocks. Make sure there's not a face back there. Okay, before you wander off, don't be drinking. Not check for a face back there. I'm just saying. But that's a good point too. Jay Boogie says Big Cat would have gone straight to the organs. And I did like we were going over that Brenda Hamilton case out of North Carolina where she was actually attacked by a big animal as well. The data suggested that was a big cat that jumped down from a tree on her actually. And so in that case is kind of still open, I believe. I don't think they ever solved that one. But I did a full, I guess, an investigation where I presented to the audience how large cats attack people. And they do oftentimes come down from the tree and they go for the head. They go straight for the back of the skull, top of the head. They go straight for the neck. I mean, it's head and mostly. They get you from behind. Okay. Just like Corey said about how they put the mask on the back of their head, they will get you from behind. Ain't no shame in their game. Okay. So they'll take you down. And that would actually kind of make sense too. If that woman was getting out of her truck and she heard a growl and maybe it got her from behind. I mean, I don't know how that happened, but
I think a lot of people don't like the cat thing, man. I was noticing in the chat, a lot of people they don't like it. It is what it is, though. You know what I mean?
It is what it is. I mean, it could have been a bear too.
Somebody got hurt though. That part isn't funny. That's too bad.
It's really sad.
And I got but of course I got a wild mind too, and I'll be thinking in the back of my mind, is that something that got loose? Some government thing that got loose, attacked her? And they get shot and they put it back in his cage or whatever, and then the sheriff and all them are covering it up.
Okay. Well, I have to admit something. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Okay. And for this show tonight, it is a feline humanoid. Okay. Now we have been getting reports of humanoid cats as well. Now I'm not saying that's what attacked that woman. Y'all, I know I put it on the thumbnail because I thought it was kind of cool. And I started thinking about that. Because I had gotten that. We had gotten some cat data, right? Big cat, lions, tigers data. And out of Missouri, shout out to Eric Testerman. Happy birthday, Eric. It's Eric's birthday tonight. I don't know if he's watching this or not, but it's Eric's birthday, and Eric lives in Missouri. And Eric came on the show. There was a report of very large, very tall feline humanoids at a state park out there, either state park or national park. And we did a whole show on that. They were the park rangers were shooting at them, and so it's not completely out of the picture for something like that.
And nobody got a video of that. Nobody.
Well, they don't have video cameras out in these parks usually.
But everybody has one in their pocket now.
Well, you know what?
I'm just saying.
Maybe not. I doubt it.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. If I see,
I've never pulled a camera out when I had ETs in my bedroom.
Beauty the Beast walking around. I'm gonna have my thing just like this. It's not like Bigfoot. I'm at Six Flags over Texas or wherever, man. And here comes a lion cat walking by. I'm gonna get my phone out. I'm just saying. I mean, we're at a point that I want to see more evidence of some of this stuff, man. Because it's too bad because we can be deluded too easy now. You know what I mean?
Well, but here's the thing, Barry. I'm a longtime Bigfoot cryptid field researcher, and the first thing I think of, I never think like, oh, I need to pull up my phone and take a video of this when something happens. I don't. Most of our encounters are late at night and it's dark anyways. You know what I mean? And if somebody gets the activity, they've got the FLIR out and they got recording it and that kind of stuff. So the first thing is most people do not think to pull out your phone. Okay.
When you're at a carnival in a public place like this, they say out hiking. I'm just saying, man. It's like it's a public place. Out of all those people, not one person got anything. That's silly. Sorry if I'm wrong. Forgive me. I ask for forgiveness, but I'm calling BS.
I think that it could be real. You and I do. We have some pretty heated debates over here, Mary.
They know everybody knows I'm gonna rib you. I'm gonna rib you a little bit. I gotta do it.
I'm gonna rip you right back.
Well, I know you still. You revealed to the world I watched you in a hospital. I'm never gonna live that down.
I'm never
gonna live that down, man. It's like the whole world now. I've been hiding that since the 79, 78. My sister and mom was watching all the time. I had to sit there and watch it. I had no choice. And I got hooked. Watch Dynasty too.
Oh my gosh, I didn't mean to let that spill out. I'm
It's
sorry.
all right. I'm just teasing you.
Barton's got a good point. Most people don't know just how many things could unalive you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Once you go into the woods or even close to them, and that's very true. Yeah, there's a lot of
right. Exactly why my black ass stays out of them.
Oh,
humans are very fragile, and it seems like in every way, that's something I admire about Sasquatch, is it seems how much better, well suited they are for this environment than we are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got tough people like you and him that know really all the hiking and stuff. But if you haven't been trained like you all, and you get trapped outside of the concrete jungle, you're in trouble, big trouble.
Yeah.
You can't survive nothing, man.
There's actually, I recommend that everybody get one of these. Okay, my brother had one. It's the Boy Scout Handbook. Okay, if you want to learn simple, easy survival, it's not all easy, but just like survival skills, get you a Boy Scout Handbook, y'all, if you can. Or any kind of books like how to survive, how to stay alive in the woods. I've got that book on my bookshelf right here. Those are great books. Get something, read it, learn it. If you're not doing hands-on stuff like I do, like out in the woods, I'm in the woods all the time. If you're not out there like learning the bushcraft stuff, whatever, just get a book, watch some YouTube channels, y'all. Learn how to build a fire at least, a shelter. Learn how to stay warm, learn how to stay dry, just how to survive. Learn what plants you can eat, learn what worms you can eat, which ones. Don't eat the fuzzy ones, Don't eat the fuzzy ones. My granddaddy taught me that.
You always want to be like Swiss Family Robinson. You remember that? They can do it all, man.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping that what we're going to see is especially these underground factories and some of these organizations that are doing that and the targeting, starting seeing some of them getting really exposed. Or somewhere like the place that got hit by the hurricane in Puerto Rico that let the chupacabra out or whatever. I'd like to see places. And when I actually looked up that actual hurricane and the time that chupacabra came around, there was one there. And you start looking up how many places in Puerto Rico were doing genetic testing then in that area. There's a few of them. I mean, that stuff that's like, man, that stuff needs to always be brought to light. There's so much stuff with abominations going on here and this dark stuff here. And, it's because, it's really sad to say because the cryptid, all things lead to ET, but all things also lead to demonic. Have you not noticed that?
I don't know.
Well, I'm serious. It's just that's such a big thing here. Like, for example, I was talking to somebody, the very thing of, hey, this is soul trap here and all that going on. You realize that's siphoning energy from people and trying to make that stuff real? That's what it's doing. It's giving more thought to it to make these things real, then get more people in the hive mind. And I mean, that's a siphoning device that we're talking about, this whole soul trap thing, the very concept of it. And again, I still have yet to meet it, to encounter one doing the work. Not saying nobody has, but it starts getting to that point where it's really maybe neuroprogramming. People are getting hit remotely and how remotely they're actually intercepting near-death experiences. Why is it, Jessica, that lifetime experiences like me often have near-death experience too? I'm not alone. I mean, I'm like 80 or 90% of us have lifetime experiences with extraterrestrials, have had a near-death experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so to think that with that energy we talk about, the Artron, the energy that people have that I've felt on contactees, and knowing I've had a regression where I watched before the person went to the place of reconfiguration and reincarnated here from this other civilization and place they were looking at their parents here on Earth who are going to be their parents. They chose it. They're looking in like a holographic screen, seeing it. This is before they died in that body. Okay. And then they went through the change and everything. Then they incarnate here and they're already messing with that people's parents before they incarnate. years before they incarnated, they're manipulating these people, these agencies. So at some point, they were able to tell before the individual, they knew they were going to incarnate with those people. A bloodline thing, whatever you want to call it, but they weren't even on Earth. So where does that begin and end? It wasn't Earth. Their incarnation before this one was not on Earth. So I mean, it's just, it's stuff like that that really leaves a lot of stuff is nebulous. But I will swear on this, I don't care what nobody says. You're super conscious, your divine over self, your higher self, all these stupid names. But the thought adjuster, it is pretty much inconquerable. It can't just be manipulated. It can't just be trapped. It can't just leave you. You're not just powerless. And when you even hypnotize somebody and takes them down to even just lower theta, they quickly discover that. Oh my God, I have more control than ever. It's as far as consciousness goes. So it's people, and that's something that's big here. They take people's power by just suggestion alone. People talk about hypnosis, the soul trap, the light's a trap. That's the biggest auto-suggestion ever. That's all it takes. Cause a little bit of doubt. You'll make a bunch more earthbound spirits. I know, I've had across a few of them now. And they tell me that. Well, I was told not to go into the light because it was a trap. And then they'd be stuck down here. But this really sucks here.
I'm having fun.
No,
well, I mean, it does. It also sucks too, though.
Earthbound spirits saying that they had no body no more.
That's not my experience.
They can't tell me. He said, "Man," he said, "Man, I died and I was going to college. I was just getting ready to start. I died, but unalived. And then I started jumping at people that were going to my school and getting them to party. I didn't get to party, so I got them to party hard. But then it didn't. But it did. It wasn't as fun. It didn't last very long. Not like it did at first. Same thing as human addiction in the body. And they say, so then, I just started telling them to hurt people. Jump at people, just tell them hurt people, hurt everybody around you.
Man, yeah, that sucks. That sucks. I try to stay positive and stuff, and there's so much, overlapping information, and like, do we go to the light or do we not go to the light when we die? Like, do we do? Like, I have full. I feel like I have full confidence that I have died enough times. I will know what to do when I die. Okay. But I don't know.
That sounded duplicitous.
Everybody has their opinion, and it's like, okay, it's light or no light. I don't know. I don't care. I'm probably not dying anytime soon.
I know somebody that says this. When you die, it's delete. No more, you're gone, you're finished. No more, it's over. No more. Yeah, I stopped trying to change his mind years ago. Not my job, He said, "What else when you die? It's delete, 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 delete." Yeah, so it's the things, and still even myself too. I can tell you that definitely we go on consciously, and it's a matter of how our next body interprets, the next container interprets reality and interprets perception. And I say that because when dealing with these earthbound spirits, they don't have a body anymore, but yet their energy fields are still trying to perceive the energy fields of the universe the way our brains do, but they don't have one anymore. So therefore they jump at other people and start living through them in that way, through their physical container. It's very interesting, and I just mentioned this chaplain that come by was talking to me today, and great. But we talked for quite a while. And it was just interesting that he started going into that very deeply, like what he thought about death and stuff, So it's interesting.
Oh man. Well, there's a lot of regular humans that don't have brains either. I'm just saying. I know you said that a while ago.
Or they turn to mush, don't take
Oh my gosh. Man, this has been a very interesting conversation. This was a double header. I saw somebody in the chat said this is a double header tonight. And I think that's what they said. Maybe I misquoted, but yeah, this was really interesting tonight. And I think that we need to do some more digging into these spheres in this network, Barry. I think this is one of the next, and I don't think that everybody's going to jump on this topic next, but I think that it will eventually be more popular with everyone else too, because I didn't even understand what it was at first. Now I've remote viewed it. I watched your show on Sunday. I think this is fantastic. And I think more people need to be looking into this. And especially those of us that are in the woods and we've experienced these orbs, and people that have even seen orbs in their houses and stuff. Like we're under constant surveillance by something. Okay, we are. It's not just the government. Okay, it's the ETs and it's everybody.
You know, yeah. You know, honestly, I didn't want to really look into that. But they kept the Spirit Network. Read, look at it. I'm not going to buy that book and read. I've read enough. You know what I mean? But it's like they wouldn't let it go. So I had wound up looking into it. And then like you, I was like, whoa, when I started really looking at it, I was like, whoa. I started seeing some things. Then when I saw how he was backing it up, you know, with scientific evidence and experimentation, it's quite fascinating in that way. And it's hard to debunk. You know, like I said, it's not an explanation for all orbs. We've got the orbs that are using the quantum hologram where you could see faces in them or beings inside the orb itself. Okay, which that takes us to another level. You know, but these type 3s are interesting, especially now that we know that they cause poltergeists, and they're capable of that, and they respond to psychic communication. That changes things. It's just good information.
It's great information. It is. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah. Look, I'll show you guys the book. If y'all want to check this book out, Patrick Jackson is this fellow's name. And go check that out. I think that's great. I'm gonna be getting this book. Okay. And I think that we all need to look more into this. And if you guys want to see all the data, there's a lot more data. I don't always go over every single thing on my data, but it's all in my Patreon if you guys want to go check that out. And also the data, all the full data for the Oklahoma attack stuff. That's just my data is in will be in my Patreon as well. So if y'all want to see that, actually, I'm gonna have this up after the show tonight. The data for those 2 targets with this, but it's in my Patreon. It will be in my Patreon tonight. So yeah, I will always look at orbs differently now a little bit because I always thought maybe they were just like spirits. But spirits, not all spirits.
Yeah, I'm about to share something with you here.
They're a highly advanced defense system to keep nuclear wars from happening and stuff.
And you know, and more importantly, threats from higher civilizations, from other civilizations, extraterrestrial or interdimensional, as was in your data. You know what I mean? So you're dealing with a much more than just nuclear weapons, but that's a threat to our planet as well. So,
yeah, I think that there is some of the people in the UFO community that I'm friends with. They've included me in an orb. It's like a Facebook DM thing, like one of those Facebook groups, or like you're in a group where you private message each other. I've never participated in that. I feel bad, but they are very much into the orbs and stuff and pictures, and I don't know. I've seen so many. I was getting boring to me, but now I know it's a lot more, you know, a lot more important now. Okay, than just swamp gas or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the type 4s though, or type 3s.
So swamp gas is important.
Swamp gas. He put all that in there, the different categories. Hey, Jess, we show that pics. I just want to show this book again. Mac Tooney's The Cryptoterrestrials. I think that's as good acquiring that book as the Spear book. But the thing about this is really little. You can read this in a couple of days. It's only about 127 pages, but it's good. And I just think it's good to promote this guy's work since he's no longer with us.
Yes. Cool. What does that say? Mac Tooney's.
Yeah. And this was given to me, and actually the book, my friend David came to town, laid it on me in 2011, 2012. I had not heard of the guy before, but it's a good book. He's got a good, really thesis on it. And, you know, he focuses a lot on inner earth and under the sea and the different types of cryptoterrestrials that are using actually a hive mind. And you can combine that with the Spirit Network. And is this the hive mind, the super intelligence under the earth that they're using that creates the Spirit Network that protects us? And think about it. They're the ones that were here when it was type 1, type 2 civilization. They'd be even more concerned about saving this planet than us. and they might just be using humanity as the dummies on the surface that will shoot down the simple stuff. And kill each other.
Getting the Appalachians go to the south, we'll shoot anything down. Okay. Yeah. I remember back when I was at the farm, down at our farm one day, and somebody just kept sending a drone over. They were like, never mind. I'm not going to get into that story. I will not incriminate myself. Okay. But I'm just saying, I don't know nothing about nothing, but I don't think there's a drone anymore. I'm just going to put it that way. Okay. Yeah. So anyway,
I'm surprised they haven't caught more stuff. I still like the one that's got that Sasquatch running through that property, that drone way up there. I always thought that was real. That thing is moving, man. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I want to see that.
There's a drone that's like showing us like this property, and there's a house there, but it's like this orchard or whatever it is. This thing is just tearing through there, and it's a drone that got it. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. I'm pretty sure it was real personally, just based on our friend MK Davis's how he saw the whiteys run. Yeah, that's just that's great, man. I enjoyed that. Boy. I can't wait for that movie to come out about that habituation. Oh Lord,
habituation.
Oh Lord, God, I get tired of stuff starting. But I can't wait to see that movie about that, man. I'll be the first one to press the buy on that.
Oh man,
he said there's stuff that even he didn't show, other clips. So that means there's more evidence. And, I also thought it was so interesting because we're so busy doing the 4 or 5 classifications that we're used to of Sasquatch, how he said on that property there was specifically 2 types. He said ones that were, that were the giants or whatever, and he had the others that were so human looking that they could almost put on clothes and pass for us. And that goes beyond type 2 and all that. That's a whole nother type that's like, I've heard of that before. Is that the type to go steal people's shirts, throw them on and go walk through town, man?
That would be like the caveman style, like the Neanderthal. I think the type 4. I think that's what he was referring to.
He almost made it sound like they're even more human than that. I got that impression,
didn't he?
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I got that impression. That was fascinating. I could ask that guy questions all day.
That was a wonderful show. Thank you for joining me for that
thank
one.
You for having me. That was fun. I got a couple of criticisms there. You didn't say anything. I said, well, I wasn't there for that. I was there just to enjoy it, and I wanted to ask him the questions I got to ask at the end. I don't always talk. Well, most of the time.
It was fun. We were there to hear from MK. He was here to make his case for all the research he'd done on that Patterson Gimlin film, and I thought that was fantastic. And the debate is kind of simmered down a little bit. I think, I don't know why. I think
until he speaks on it again.
Yeah, well, I think that documentary that was coming out maybe had just kind of sizzled down a little bit. Simmer down now. Right? It kind of simmered down, and they're not really showing it anymore, I don't think, or something. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
Anybody even see it in the first place?
I know one person saw it.
Yeah, he told me about that on the show. But outside of that, it's like all the people we know in the community, there's only 1 or 2 people that saw it. That's like, wow, okay, And I'll tell you something else. Somebody else I think it'd be cool for you to get on your show sometime that's been talking about it a lot too. Thicker Thunker. He's been talking about that.
Thunker. Man, does he even do interviews? I've never seen him on a show before.
I don't know. You should find out. If anybody could get him on, I bet you could do
it. Man, we'll see. We'll see. We shall see.
Him and MK in one show. Get them both on there. That would be killer.
That'd be wild.
The stars, man. Boom, knocking out the ballpark. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that might be a 12-hour show if I did that. So gotta be careful. Yeah.
Don't forget. You know who else? Don't forget. You can say the name.
Tom Powell. Tom Powell.
Now that's my brightest part on the Sasquatch UFO connection is Tom Powell.
Yeah.
That shifted.
Well, yes. Well, I'll try to get him on the show one day too. Yes. But until then, I've thoroughly enjoyed this, Barry. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I have to go. My son is on spring break, and I have to go. This is a late dinner tonight. I got to go feed him. and I've got a lot of stuff to do. I had to not unpack my groceries, y'all. I got to admit, I was in such a hurry to get to this show tonight. I have groceries sitting out right now, so I hope that milk is still good. That's all I'm gonna say right there. But thank you for being here, Barry.
Thanks for having me.
And
thank you for doing the target too. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I think it's really important. And thank you to the audience for not chewing me out or booing me out of here.
There were no tomatoes thrown tonight that I know of. Okay, I don't think y'all threw any tomatoes. Thank you all so much. Hey, Marcy. Hey, Jane. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody in the chat. Yeah, y'all. Like I said, if you want to see the data, go to my Patreon. Thank you so much to all my Patreon members. You guys mean the world to me, and all of my channel members as well. Thank y'all so much for all your support, and to all my moderators, everybody that's in the chat, y'all. Thank y'all just for showing up and being here with us. And yeah, I want to thank everybody before we go tonight. Area 51, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for that super sticker. That's so sweet. And also Nathan, thank you so much for that super sticker. Super awesome. And Hoboken Native, thank you so much for that super sticker as well. And yeah, y'all are awesome. Thank you for all the questions tonight. I'm sorry I probably didn't get to everybody's questions.
That was
yeah,
flying. I couldn't hardly keep up with it.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with this, y'all. It is. I do my best. And I don't always try to, look at the chat because it's very distracting. So, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Y'all forgive me. I know. And y'all can catch me on the next show. And if at the right time, if I happen to look over and see your comments, I will pull them up if the stars align and stuff. So, but y'all, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys all learned something tonight. And Barry, please tell everybody where they can find you.
HE double hockey sticks. No, I'm just kidding.
HE double hockey sticks.
I'm Barry Littleton on Patreon, on YouTube, and in Facebook. Just all Barry Littleton. Excuse me, I'm getting tired. My email is barrylittleton13@gmail.com. If you want to have a session, I do hypnosis, I do readings, but several different types of hypnosis that people seem to really be enjoying right now. So thank you again for having me. Thank you to the audience, and this has been a blast. I think it's really good information this time. All of them are, but this was a good one, I think.
Right. Well, this is brand new. This is something that I've never even heard of until you brought it up. So I think it's wonderful.
And something I didn't want to deal with. So
well, sometimes you just got to deal with it. And now, you know what? You're a trendsetter, Barry. This is a trend. This is a trend-setting channel. Me and Barry, we set the trend. Watch where it goes.
Trendsetter, Ron C.
Trendsetter.
The only album my brother
ever made. This goes.
Oh, you're true.
Yeah. It'll like take off on a bigger channel one day. That's what's going to happen. That's what usually happens. We'll put it out there and then somebody will pick it up and run with it, and then they'll forget about us.
They will. That way I'm honored though, but at least more people get to know about this because I think it's important. Yeah. And the amount of people that have taken UFO pictures right now that have that very configurations that we were showing. And I've got others. If you look at the live I did, I showed a couple other pictures that show that configuration in the air, especially when it's type 1 and they go to the 3. It almost looks like a TR3B, but it's not. It's the 3 plasma balls. So that's that's stuff. A lot of people are capturing that, and I think it counts. So
did you see that video that I showed of the orbs that were circling that plane, that Malaysian plane?
Yeah, you put that picture up. Yeah.
Well, no, I played that video though. Did you see the video? Because you were talking while I was playing the video. I could show it again. You'll show it again before we go?
Yeah. Do it.
Let's show it again one more time before we go, y'all. Okay, I'm not going to keep y'all here forever because we have all got stuff to do. Okay, I know. Let me share this video, and we're going to leave on this one. Portals and orbs surrounding this flight. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Here we go. I'm going to keep the volume off. It's going to be towards the middle in about 30 seconds. You're going to see this is two different angles. One is like a thermal. I guess they're both thermal, actually. I want you to check out.
Wow, I saw that.
In just a few seconds, it's going to be real prominent.
Man, I don't think that's fake at all.
No, look at that. Look. That's crazy.
See, it's those type 1s. They're looking at that thing. They're deciding if it's a threat or not. Yep. Were they carrying something on there besides just passengers?
Well, they say that's supposed to be the Malaysia flight that disappeared, that nobody knew where it went. It's never been found, right? I mean, that is wild. I've always been fascinated by this video.
It just happens to be a fake that just happens to have the 3 configuration, right? Just happens to have that.
It goes through a portal. Or did you see that?
Yeah.
What was that? Wait, let me go back. Is this real? I'm playing this again. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm playing this one more time. Look at this. Oh, what was that? Okay. Anyways, that's pretty freaking cool. Okay. And we'll stop sharing. That was cool.
Yeah, it was. And I'd like to find out more about that.
Yeah.
It's just too coincidental. Just happens to look like a Type 1. Just happens to. Just happens like Foo Fighters riding around the thing, you know?
But it's debunked. Remember? Just kidding.
Find out by who and how. You know, exactly. Maybe.
It's debunked. Fact checker said so.
I would like to find out about that more than I would the little alien organisms swimming around in the pool that, you know, coming out of the freezer or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah. The alien in the freezer?
What's that?
Yes. The alien in the freezer? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. The one
that was that Dr. Kenneth guy. I forgot his name. That was an interesting story.
Swimming around in the pool or whatever.
Oh man. Yeah, who took the footage? That's a good question. Yeah, who did take that footage? Probably the U.S. Air Force.
Disappeared. The guy discredited. Disappeared.
I don't know nothing about nothing. This is for entertainment purposes only, and that is all for entertainment right there. And on that note, what a great show tonight. I really enjoyed this. Y'all please come back and see me on Saturday night on the Hunt, 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay. And yeah. What's up, everybody? I see you on the chat. Thank y'all so much for being here. And again, thank you for everybody who supported the channel with the super stickers and stuff tonight. Y'all please be safe out there. Okay.
No, and Jonathan Reed. Not Jonathan Reed. We're not talking about that.
Jonathan Reed. Oh, that's what I thought you were talking about. Okay.
No, I was talking about the one that we did a show on it. It had the thing that looked like some sort of an organism coming out of the freezer or whatever. Then they put it in the water and it looked like a fish that had the stuff on it.
The Tater Invader.
Yeah, that's it. The Tater Invader. Yeah.
That was supposed to be a hoax or something, I think, in the end, but I don't know. They've actually there was another one of those allegedly in the International Space Station or something. I don't know. That's for a whole other show, y'all. We'll talk about that next week.
For the word, I believe Jonathan Reed was real, based on especially what he said about the suit, the self-repairing suit. I've been around entities that have worn similar suits to that were sentient. So I kind of believe him.
Oh, yeah. I believe him too. He does interviews. I need to get him on my channel.
He interviewed with Soretta, my friend Soretta. She probably can get him in touch with you, I bet you. I'll hook you up with Soretta. She's somebody you might like to talk to sometime too. She's pretty interesting.
I actually just was on a show with her on last Friday. I just met her for the first time. Yeah. I didn't get to talk to her very much, but she's so nice.
Oh, she's cool. Yeah. She's pretty gifted too.
Oh yeah, very, very intelligent lady. I love her. Okay, but okay. All right, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Please stay safe out there. Watch your back. If you hear something growling, please get back in the car. Okay, get out of there, and but just always be aware of your surroundings. Okay, and please send prayers to that poor woman who was attacked in Oklahoma that we've talked about for the past 3 shows now. Okay, and hopefully we will get some more information about that soon. And until then, everybody, sending all my love and light to you guys, and meet me back here on Saturday, and hopefully we'll see you, Barry, on your channel on Sunday.
I'll be there.
Barry Littleton. Okay.
I already got the subject ready.
Okay, sweet.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, y'all. All right. And don't forget, y'all come see me at the West Georgia Bigfoot Town Hall. That is April the 25th. And that will be at McIntosh Reserve. It's going to be really fun. We'll probably have a good crowd there. And y'all come, let's talk about Bigfoot over there at that. Here's the flyer. Y'all can find more information on my website. Be there, be square, y'all. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great night, Barry. We'll see y'all on Saturday. Bye.